I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. But I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
And now, welcome to another episode of Down the Rabbit Hole. Here's your host from federaljack.com. It's Popeye.
It's hour number 2 of the Freedom Link, and folks, it's getting started. Yeah, the drama, the Broadway, the play that is going to play out tonight before your eyes. Ah, yes, the drama called the State of the Union Address. And to help us out tonight,
God.
Yes.
Dude, if you turn on right now, I had to interrupt you. If you turn around right now, Michelle Obama, the First Lady, is getting a standing ovation as she walks to her seat because she's so awesome.
No, she's not. And we have Johnny King that's going to help us out. Hey, all right, so let's get this audio going. You want me to play it, Popeye, or you got it?
Oh, I got it. You ready?
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, God, dude, it's so... Ugh. All I could say is the Reich minister would be so proud. Here we go.
I just took my Pepto-Bismol. I'm good.
The Fuhrer.
Okay, dispense with the pleasantries, boys. Let's go.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Mr. Speaker, the President's Cabinet.
Oh, jeez, they're still doing introductions.
That's all right. The
I'm
President's
muting it right
Cabinet. Oh, let's see. Okay, here's
Blah, blah, blah. Look.
here's let's see. Was that John Kerry?
Oh, look. Skull and Bones Kerry.
Yeah, Skull and Bones. Hey, there's Ted Lieu. Yeah,
They're high-fiving him. He's like, yeah, F civil rights. Woo!
I didn't know they had Muppets.
Economy's gonna crash. That's right. Oh, Chuck Hagel. Yeah, there you go. DOD.
He's walking in. Chuck, how you doing? Hey.
How you doing, Chucky, baby?
Shaking hands. Eric Holder. He's like,
Eric Holder.
There he is. Thank you. War criminal. Thank you.
I know. See, now look at.
Oh, look, he gets kisses. Oh, yes. Kiss the criminal. Yes, that's right. Killing Border Patrol members, running guns.
Would it be bad if I was a congressman there standing in line, that would be the one guy that gets punched in the face. I don't care if I go to prison. I am not missing my chance on that one. I am not missing.
Dude, look, people are hugging him and like, yo, what's up, Eric Holder? That's right.
Yeah. I'd be like, look, you're a punk and I'm punching you in the face. And that's it.
So he's like, so yeah, everything good? Yeah, the drugs came through? Okay, cool.
I would even go in so far, since I was going to prison anyway, I would probably drop the people's elbow on him too.
You see, look, he's talking to people. He's like, yes, don't worry. The guns made it through. Yes, don't worry.
Yeah. I'd be standing on top of those big chairs, like.
Look, you see him talking to the chick. He's like, yes, I promise. Look, no, they don't know. No, Fast and Furious.
That's right. Oh, and then
the Coke on your desk.
And then up top, you've got Joe Biden humping the leg of
the president,
of John Boner.
Why are they comparing this to the Ronald Reagan State of the Union address? Hold on. There's a picture of Ronald Reagan's '88 State of the Union address. Oh, they're not. There's not even commentary. They're just showing you random pictures on the side of
past states of the union.
John F. Kennedy, 1963. Don't compare him to Kennedy. Don't compare Barack Obama to John F. Kennedy.
Why not?
Please. This guy, dude, every other president, even the presidents that were bad presidents.
He's a playboy too, man. He was macking on the Denmark woman there, the prime minister, whatever.
Oh, yeah, his wife didn't like that.
He's a playa.
His wife didn't like that. By the way, if anybody has Twitter, feel free to tweet #SOTU. Anything you want.
I was just doing that right now, as a matter of fact. I have the, okay, so, let's see. I love, and I'm going to do this in real time as I'm tweeting this. I love #SOTU. And the hashtag, now, to do this, Popeye, of course, folks, I'm not very good at this social media thing, so I'm learning. Can you hashtag and put a space between the words, or do you have to?
The hashtag has to be right next to the word. That way it shows up. And then
so if I have to put like Nazi propaganda?
Yeah, you can just put all one word.
Propaganda.
#SOTU, hashtag. And then because you hashtagged it SOTU, anything else you put in a tweet the whole tweet shows up.
And the hashtag Nazi propaganda being displayed as we watch the
it keeps crashing now too. Let's see.
Procession
I can get a better
of the ghouls.
The procession of the ghouls. It's still just
our nation's capital.
It's just it's just like, dude, how much time are they going to waste on just walking in like a bunch of D-bags?
All right,
I got to run for Congress. I have never seen this much ass kissing in my entire life.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Oh, this could be fun. I've never done Twitter on this before. Like,
dude, I'm telling you, the whole time people should need to be tweeting. Well, I want to do live commentary and make fun of this stuff. And here, thank God we only have one commercial break, and it's only 3 minutes. You won't miss much. We'll take notes during the commercial break.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I'm trying. Okay, so let's see.
Nope, still standing there with their thumbs in their rear end. Let's say, no.
Yeah, and like I said, this was my tweet and the entire. I tweeted, I love #SOTU and #Nazi propaganda being displayed as we watch the procession of the ghouls in our nation's capital. Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people tuning in because it keeps crashing. It's got 115,000. Now it's at 116,000. Wow. Wish my YouTube channel would get views like that. Oh, I guess they don't block the White House's views though, huh?
So how long is this turd going to be lying to us?
Who knows?
Do you know he wrote a college thesis on how to bankrupt the United States, and that's basically where he got noticed by the powers that shouldn't be. It's where he started his climb.
I'm trying
I'm tweeting right now to Justin Amash.
See, dude, I'm telling you, Twitter can be fun.
Why didn't you drop the people's
trolling public officials on Twitter live?
Elbow on Eric Holder. Tweet. Oh yeah, this could get real good. I think that you're witnessing right now, folks. You are witnessing in real time the corrupting of a non-social media guy. This could be a lot of fun.
I have a backup just in case because the YouTube live feed keeps going down. It's because so many people are tuning in.
Yeah.
So, I have a backup. I'm bringing up the C-SPAN video right now. Let me see. Check the audio. See if they're... And they're not.
Oh, man.
They're still doing nothing.
And folks, if this
is boring the hell out of you, I apologize, but there's nothing we can do. It's the government. Hurry up and wait.
It is the government.
Well, welcome to being in the military. Hurry up and wait.
But let me say this: if it does go over into the 10 o'clock hour, I will stay on the air with Popeye. And we'll just keep going.
I'm just going to continue to rip this. I have some stuff that I want to get into later on, but I have enough time to tear this crap apart.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, this is good. Now, I don't expect much out of this guy outside of the usual rhetoric. Do you think he's going to address global warming tonight? Oh, there he is. He's coming down the hall. Look at everybody. Oh, yeah, let me just... Ugh. Look at them all. They're kissing his ass. Why?
This is what I hear. Like when
Harry Reid with him. Oh.
When I hear him talking, this is what I hear. That's what I hear.
It's weird. It's like we have a shape-shifting president. It's Hitler. Hitler's really immortal. He's really the Antichrist, and he assumes different forms. And see, so he's been every president since the fall of Germany.
Well, here, let me cut live to the speech right now from the State of the Union address. Hold on, let me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Wrong speech. I'm sorry. I got confused because they both sound so similar.
Yeah, they do. Well, no, because there's a little more, I don't know. Barry has a little more of a flair to him, you know? It's kind of like he's got a little soul to him. Adolf Hitler didn't have that.
I don't know if Barry's, well... He's the modern day version of it. Back then, Hitler was a good orator, and people like.
Oh, he was. Yeah.
So.
He was good.
Look at him. He comes in. He's just shaking people's hands. Hey, brother. What up?
What up, bro? Hey, baby. You're gonna go catch that burger later, right? You know.
Ugh. And look at all these kiss asses behind him. Ugh.
Oh, Michelle looks like she's just so thrilled to see him.
Yeah, that's why she's in the corner.
I saw somebody with a bumper sticker the other day that said Michelle Hillary 2016.
Ugh.
I wonder if she caught him in bed with one of the guys that's in his staff.
It could be. Or Larry Sinclair maybe drop by.
Would you guys stop kissing his ass already and let him get to the podium so we could hear his propaganda and start making fun of it already? God.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be great. I can't wait.
Dude, this is why they say, well, nothing gets done because there's infighting. No, this is why nothing gets done, because everybody, he's shaking John Kerry's hand. He's like, ha-ha, Benghazi, ha-ha-ha.
No, they all love each other. Yeah, there's some serious lovins going on.
There's crying boner up at the.
Yeah. Oh, with his buddy Biden.
Does anybody notice the two fasci up on the walls, but on either side of the flag? If you're looking at if you go and watch the live video of this later on, and you're not just listening to the audio, and what I'll do is I'll see if I can find the speech, and maybe I could in the YouTube version I could at least try to put some of the video in there to match up with it. But if you look in the background, you'll see fasci on the wall. Those are those axes with it's a bundle of sticks with an axe head on each side. Yeah, you need to go look up what fasci represent. It doesn't represent freedom. I can tell you that. Fasci, fascism. Why do they sound familiar? Fasci, fascism. And here comes the chief fascist, the Reich Fuhrer himself.
Oh, there you go.
Barack Insane Obama.
Okay, bring it on up. Bring it on up.
Let's see if...
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dark Lord.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Lord Sidious. Oh my God, enough with the clapping. He's not a freaking hero.
No.
I'm waiting to hear like the vice president in the background. This is a big effing deal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
Ugh.
The Reich Fuhrer himself.
The Reich Fuhrer. Okay, everybody applaud. There's got to be an applause sign somewhere. Look for it. Look for it. Who the hell would clap for this guy?
Thank you so much.
Stop it. You people are all making me sick.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
See, this is just more evidence that they really love each other.
Just gave Boner and Biden their payments.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, members of Congress.
I have my pen.
My fellow Americans.
Unilateral.
Today in America,
metadata.
A teacher spent extra time with a student who needed it.
Because she needed the overtime, because she doesn't make enough money.
America's graduation rate to its highest levels in more than 3 decades.
Charlotte Thompson.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur flipped on
21st in the world in math and science.
The deliberate dumbing down of America.
To add to the more than 8 million new jobs our businesses have created over the past 4 years.
40% unemployment.
And the 16 plus million.
Wait a minute. What new jobs? They're government jobs. Police thugs, i.e., does not make a good job.
In the world, and did his part to help America wean itself off foreign oil. A farmer prepared for the spring after this strongest 5-year stretch of...
Did he just say we weaned ourselves off of foreign oil?
Yeah, right.
Why are we invading everybody's backyard?
The first prescription to treat asthma that his mother could afford.
Don't get singular. Just don't get singular, dude. That stuff kills you.
Yeah, you can't get it down. They did away with the albuterol, too.
Graveyard shift, bone tired, but dreaming big dreams for his son.
Here we go.
And in tight-knit communities all across America, fathers and mothers will tuck in their kids.
Who wants to bet
put an arm around
that he's going to use the term? That's why I have taken executive action. How many times do you think that's going to be stated tonight?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Long years is finally coming to an end.
I'm going to keep a tally. Every time he says like kinetic action or executive action, I'm putting a hashtag down.
They just don't live in reality. And I hate these stupid pauses.
Where they all like clap for him and blow him on TV. It's so disgusting. It's just Michelle Obama's like, get me out of here. I'd rather be shopping with your money.
One voice to the people we represent. It is you, our citizens, who make the state of our union strong. And here are the results of your efforts. The lowest unemployment rate in over 5 years.
Total bogus. Bogus.
A manufacturing sector that's adding jobs for the first time since the 1990s.
Barry, what you smoking, baby?
More oil produced at home than we buy from the rest of the world.
And then we sell it all to the rest of the world.
20 years.
We don't use it here.
Our deficits cut by more than half.
Still over $1 trillion.
What? Dude, we owe more money. What are you freaking talking about? Liar.
Business leaders around the world have declared that China is no longer the world's #1 place to invest. America is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
On what planet? What planet are you on, Barry? Really? What?
And look at these people standing up. Oh, that sounds so good. Yeah, that's a good one. That'll help on the re-election campaign.
You need to lay off the crack there, Barack.
That's why I believe this can be a breakthrough year for America.
Oh, it's going to be a breakthrough. We're going to break through the bottom.
Determined effort. The United States is better positioned for the 21st century.
It's called bottoming out. That's what happens to all addicts.
The question for everyone in this chamber, running through every decision we make this year, is whether we are going to help or hinder this progress. For several years now, this town has been consumed by a rancorous argument over the proper size of the federal government.
Yeah, like should be non-existent.
One that dates back to our very founding. But when that debate prevents us from carrying out even the most basic functions of our democracy, when our
constitutional republic
government,
this is where he's going to say I have to go around.
The full faith and credit of the United States, then we are not doing right by the American people.
So he just said debate. What he's saying is debate on things shouldn't be had because it's interfering with the workings of government and it's affecting the everyday American people. Lying sack of crap.
Yeah.
As president, I'm committed to making Washington work better and rebuild.
So I'm just going to tell you what to do.
People who sent us here.
Exactly.
And I believe most of you are too.
Right.
Last month, thanks to the work of Democrats and Republicans, Congress finally produced a budget that undoes some of last year's severe cuts to priorities like education.
What about spending for who? Military industrial who?
We can still do more to invest in this country's future while bringing down our deficit in a balanced way. But the budget compromise should leave us freer to focus on creating new jobs, not creating new crises.
Don't worry, we'll just keep spending money. I know we only make $30,000 a year, but we must spend $100,000 a year on our credit cards.
Together. Let's make this a year of action.
Yeah.
That's what.
How about a year of crashing?
For all of us.
Yeah, a year of action.
In this chamber to focus on their lives.
A year of executive
their
action.
Hopes, their aspirations. What I believe unites the people of this nation, regardless of region or party, young or old, rich or poor, is the simple, profound belief in opportunity for all. The notion that if you work hard and take responsibility, you can get ahead in America.
You can get ahead in America.
Really? People that take personal responsibility usually get targeted by the IRS.
Yeah, we get lambasted for it.
Belief has suffered some serious blows.
Oh, God, here we go.
You would know about that, wouldn't you, Barry?
Great recession hit. Massive shifts in technology, global competition had eliminated a lot of good middle-class jobs.
As planned.
And weakened the economic foundations that families depend on.
As
Go
planned.
Rockefeller.
Today, after 4 years of economic growth, corporate profits and stock prices have rarely been higher.
What?
And those at the top have never done better. Average wages have barely budged.
Pop.
Inequality has deepened. Upward mobility has stalled.
Really? Think so?
The cold hard fact is that even in the midst of recovery, too many Americans are working more than ever just to get by, let alone to get ahead.
They're not working at all.
And too many
I wonder why that
still
is.
aren't working at all.
Oh, look at me, I'm clairvoyant.
Our job is to reverse these trends.
Well, how are you going to do that, Barry?
It won't happen right away, and we won't agree on everything.
Oh, it sure won't.
What I offer tonight is a set of concrete, practical proposals.
Oh, here we go.
To speed up growth, strengthen and build new ladders of opportunity into the middle class.
Seems executive proposals.
Some require congressional action.
So up, here we go.
And I'm eager to work with all of you.
Wait, here we go.
But America does not stand still, and neither will I.
Oh.
So wherever and whenever I can take steps without legislation to expand opportunity for more American families, that's what I'm going to do.
So he just said he's going to be a Führer. He's going to be a dictator.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stand up. Stand before ein Führer.
And they're all clapping him like a bunch of idiots. They're the ones that are supposed to keep him in check.
As usual.
Read the Federalist Papers, people.
That's a good example. Michelle's.
Ask, sir.
God, stop. My wife is so great. Oh, I'm turning this.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Stand.
You know what, man? Let me tell you something. I take great offense.
This is why nothing.
Great offense. Let me tell you, I take great offense to them parading that soldier there out like that.
Oh, I know.
I mean, using him like he's Obama's monkey boy.
The backdrop.
You know? Yeah.
And reduce healthcare costs for decades to come.
No, it won't, you lie.
The Joining Forces Alliance that Michelle and Jill Biden launched has already encouraged employers to hire or train nearly 400,000 veterans and military spouses.
You see her look at the disabled vet next to her.
Taking a page,
she smiles at him. We're taking care of you. We love you.
Summit, where already 150 universities, businesses, nonprofits have made concrete commitments to reduce inequality and access to higher education, and to help every hardworking kid go to college and succeed when they get to campus.
Yeah.
And across the country.
And be encumbered with debt for decades to come.
Partnering with mayors, governors, and state legislatures on issues from homelessness to marriage equality. The point is, there are millions of Americans outside of Washington who are tired of stale political arguments and are moving this country forward. They believe, and I believe, that here in America, our success should depend not on accident of birth, but the strength of our work ethic and the scope of our dream.
That was the original
That's what drew our forebears here.
Of the country, moron.
That's how the daughter of a factory worker is CEO of America's largest automaker.
Not if you have your way.
Oh, yeah, now that we only have two because we bailed out Fiat and basically handed them Chrysler.
How the son of a barkeep is Speaker of the House.
Maybe that's why he's a crying little...
Yeah. Oh, now he's going to cry. Come on.
Now they're all giving John Boehner a standing... People, this is why nothing gets done in Washington. Because every 30 seconds they're blowing each other during a speech. They can't even talk about things.
Can be president of the greatest nation on earth.
Dude, stop it. You're the president because...
Oh, here we go. Oh, stand up for Barry.
I'm turning this down because I can't stand it. Seriously, he's not president because people voted him in. Really? Who backed him? J.P. Morgan. Who got the biggest chunk of bailout money? J.P. Morgan.
The defining project of our generation must be to restore that promise. We know where to start. The best measure of opportunity is access to a good job. With the economy picking up speed, companies say they intend to hire more people this year. And over half of big manufacturers say they're thinking of insourcing jobs from abroad.
Yeah.
Really? You know where they're going to insource to?
So let's make that decision easier for more companies.
The private prison industrial
Both
complex.
Democrats and Republicans have argued that our tax code is riddled with wasteful, complicated loopholes that punish businesses investing here and reward companies that keep profits abroad.
I'm going to turn it down because we're going to break in about 10, 15 seconds. But when you come back, we'll just pick it right back up with the...
Yeah, we'll pick it right back up. So don't go away, folks. More to come. Last segment of the Freedom Link on the way. Don't go away.
Such a lying sack of crap.
I don't like him at all.
Ugh. Ugh. Ladies and gentlemen, just ugh.
Ugh.
The state of the Reich Fuhrer's address. The state of the Fuhrer. The Reich Fuhrer himself. Ugh. Dirtbag.
Death to the Reich Fuhrer. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Ugh. It's just, dude, this is ridiculous. Anybody that ever thinks that he's even in charge.
Welcome back, folks. Joe Joseph, John King, and Popeye. We're listening to this State of the Union address, and oh boy, I'll tell you, it hasn't disappointed thus far, has it, guys?
Ugh, I'm nauseous.
I took that.
Listening during the break, I was screaming. Really? Why?
Surprised John wasn't canning the whole time. You know, like we didn't hear like, you know, and all the
canning with the president.
Canning with the president. Yeah, turn it up.
I'll cut red tape to help states get those factories built.
Yeah, I'll cut red tape. All right.
And this Congress can help by putting people to work building fueling stations that shift more cars and trucks from foreign oil to American natural gas.
For wrecking.
Meanwhile, my administration will keep working with the industry to sustain production and jobs growth while strengthening protection of our air, our water, our communities. And while we're at it, I'll use my authority to protect more of our pristine federal lands for future generations.
Oh, you know what that means? More executive orders for global warming.
Oh, yes.
Agenda 21.
It's not just oil and natural gas production that's booming. We're becoming a global leader in solar, too. Every 4 minutes, another American home or business goes solar. Every panel pounded into place by a worker whose job cannot be outsourced.
Don't pound that panel too hard.
With a smarter tax policy that stops giving $4 billion a year to fossil fuel industries that don't need it, so we can invest more in fuels of the future that do.
So that means he's going to bankrupt coal-fired power plants is what he's going to do.
Absolutely.
That's what that means. Just like they're doing now. And since they don't have any infrastructure in place to replace it, guess what that means? Rolling brownouts and blackouts.
Yummy.
We partnered with businesses, builders, and local communities to reduce the energy we consume. When we rescued our automakers, for example, we worked with them to set higher fuel efficiency standards for our cars. In the coming months, I'll build on that success by setting new standards for our trucks so we can keep driving down oil imports and what we pay at the pump.
Has it driven down at all? What is he talking about?
Jobs and leading to a cleaner, safer planet.
What is it? Is gas $1 a gallon again? What? Did I miss something?
Total carbon pollution more than any other nation on Earth.
Oh, here we go. Yep, he's going to take, that means, read that to mean, I will take executive action.
But we have to act with more urgency.
For global warming.
Because the changing climate is already harming Western communities struggling with drought.
Told you.
And coastal cities dealing with floods.
Now it's climate change.
That's why I directed my administration to work with states, utilities, and others to set new standards on the amount of carbon pollution our power plants are allowed to dump into the air.
What did I just say to you?
The shift to a cleaner energy economy won't happen overnight, and it will require some tough choices along the way.
How about stopping spraying barium and aluminum into the sky?
And when our children's children look us in the eye and ask if we did all we could to leave them a safer, more stable world with new sources of energy, I want us to be able to say, yes, we did.
Oh, my God. He just broke out one of the biggest pieces of propaganda. The easiest slogans they had was, yes, we can, and now it's, yes, we did. Yes, we did. When our kids looking back, yes, we did.
Finally, if we're serious about economic growth, it is time to heed the call of business leaders, labor leaders, faith leaders, law enforcement, and fix our broken immigration system.
Which includes giving all the illegals that are here automatic status. You know why? Because they want the votes. So then they can overturn certain laws, take away rights. That's the way it works.
And I know that members of both parties in the House want to do the same. Independent economists say immigration reform will grow our economy and shrink our deficits by almost $1 trillion in the next 2 decades. And for good reason. When people come here to fulfill their dreams, to study, invent, contribute to our culture, they make our country a more attractive place for businesses to locate and create jobs for everybody.
You know, he's such a piece of crap.
Let's get immigration reform done this year.
Because, see, he's like, we got to get immigration reform done this year. You're not even enforcing current immigration law. You're violating the law. Barry.
The ideas I've outlined so far can speed up growth and create more jobs. But in this rapidly changing economy, we have to make sure that every American has the skills to fill those jobs. The good news is we know how to do it. 2 years ago, as the auto industry came roaring back, opened up a manufacturing firm in Detroit. She knew that Ford needed parts for the best-selling truck in America. And she knew how to make those parts. She just needed the workforce. So she dialed
Sounds similar, doesn't it?
An American Job Center.
Especially if you're reading the translations.
Folks can walk in to get the help or training they need to find a new job or a better job. She was flooded with new workers. And today, Detroit Manufacturing Systems has more than 700 employees. Now, what Andra and her employees experienced is how it should be for every employer and every job seeker. So tonight, I've asked Vice President Biden to lead an across-the-board reform of America's training programs to make sure they have one mission: train Americans with the skills employers need and match them to good jobs that need to be filled right now. That means more on-the-job training and more apprenticeships that set a young worker on an upward trajectory for life. It means connecting companies to community colleges that can help design training to fill their specific needs. And if Congress wants to help, you can concentrate funding on proven programs that connect more ready-to-work Americans with ready-to-be-filled jobs. I'm also convinced we can help Americans return to the workforce faster by reforming unemployment insurance so that it's more effective in today's economy. But first, this Congress needs to restore the unemployment insurance you just let expire for 1.6 million people.
You notice he doesn't say we'll cut spending on war and all this other crap so we can fund this stuff. No. That's going to be the next fight is we have to raise the debt ceiling. That's why they had to we need that debt compromise. That way there's no more debate on the debt ceiling either.
Misty DeMars is a mother of 2 young boys. She'd been steadily employed since she was a teenager. Put herself through college. She'd never collected unemployment benefits, but she'd been paying taxes. In May, she and her husband used their life savings to buy their first home. A week later, budget cuts claimed the job she loved. Last month, when their unemployment insurance was cut off, she sat down and wrote me a letter, the kind I get every day. We are the face of the unemployment crisis, she wrote. I'm not dependent on the government. Our country depends on people like us who build careers, contribute to society, care about our neighbors. I'm confident that in time I will find a job, I will pay my taxes, and we will raise our children in their own home and the community we love.
Not if this guy stays in power.
Give us this chance. Congress, give these hard-working, responsible Americans that chance. Give them that chance.
Let me see what he's pushing, because how is it Congress's fault?
Give them the chance.
You guys bailed out the banks, and the banks aren't doing what they were supposed to do with the bailout money, and you guys didn't go after them, so...
They need our help right now, but more important, this country needs them in the game. That's why I've been asking CEOs to give more long-term unemployed workers a fair shot at new jobs, a new chance to support their families. And in fact, this week, many will come to the White House to make that commitment real. Tonight, I ask every business leader in America to join us and do the same, because we are stronger when America fields a full team. Of course, it's not enough to train today's workforce. We also have to prepare tomorrow's workforce by guaranteeing every child access to a world-class education.
So we're going to export our children to another country?
Speak a word of English when he moved to New York City at age 9. But last month, thanks...
You notice how he keeps using straw man arguments and, like, using, like, emotion to frame everything? Everything... He's supposed to be the executive in command of the country. He's supposed to be coming to you from a position of, look, I'm in charge, things are bad, or blah, 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 but we can, we'll get through this, whatever. He's supposed to come to you, with that tone, and he's not. He's with logic. He's coming to you with, oh my God, base all your decisions based off of emotion. You should feel bad. Let's make law off of feeling bad based off of a story that I told you. I mean, all the stuff that he's talking about, oh, we need Congress, it's Congress's fault. Like, he's done nothing. His administration has never done anything wrong, never blocked anything. Ugh.
And performance. Teachers and principals in schools from Tennessee to Washington, D.C. are making big strides in preparing students with the skills for the new economy. Problem solving, critical thinking, science, technology, engineering, math. Now, some of this change is hard. It requires everything from more challenging curriculums and more demanding parents to better support for teachers.
How about, again, go to deliberatedumbingdown.com, and get Charlotte Iserby's book, The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. Anything that they say about education, we need more funding for education, we need more funding for... That means that they're using the funding to push Common Core. They don't... Do they tell your kids about real history anymore? No. Half these friggin' high school students don't even know that Kennedy was assassinated while he was in office. Question what they're doing with the money. Again, you want to see what's really wrong with the American school system? Look up a woman named Charlotte Thompson Iserby. Go to her site, deliberatedumbingdown.com. Get her book, and she's also got a DVD box set explaining it with all these different researchers and lecturers.
High-quality pre-K available to every 4-year-old. And as a parent, as well as the president, I repeat that request tonight. But in the meantime, 30 states have raised pre-K funding on their own. They know we can't wait. So just as we worked with states to reform our schools, this year we'll invest in new partnerships with states and communities across the country in a race to the top for our youngest children. And as Congress decides what it's going to do, I'm going to pull together a coalition of elected officials, business leaders, and philanthropists willing to help more kids access the high-quality pre-K that they need. It is right for America. We need to get this done.
We're going to indoctrinate them at a younger age.
If you have philanthropists getting involved, right. Oh, it's for a good reason.
Last year, I also pledged to connect 99% of our students to high-speed broadband over the next 4 years. Tonight, I can announce that with the support of the FCC and companies like Apple, Microsoft, Sprint, and Verizon, we've got a down payment to start connecting more than 15,000 schools and 20 million students over the next 2 years without adding a dime to the deficit.
And
because we need it for war.
Well, this is, again, this goes to Charlotte's book. Go read The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. In her book, when she wrote this back in the 80s, she says they're going to replace school books with computers, and that's what they're doing.
We're shaking
I'm
up.
public school educated. I can't read.
Parents more information, and colleges more incentive to offer better value, so that no middle-class kid is priced out of a college education. We're offering millions the opportunity to cap their monthly student loan payments to 10% of their income. And I want to work with Congress to see how we can help even more Americans who feel trapped by student loan debt.
He wants to help people that are trapped by student loan debt, John, yet he's pushing that everybody needs to go to college. What happens if, first of all, the only reason why they want you to go to college is two things. One, they want you to get loans from their masters to pay for the college. And two, the colleges are indoctrination centers pretty much.
I want every child to have the same chance this country gave us. But we know our opportunity agenda won't be complete. And too many young people entering the workforce today will see the American dream as an empty promise. Unless we also do
that's what it is.
Our economy honors the dignity of work.
Like George Carlin said, the American dream is a dream because you got to be asleep to believe it.
Now, today, women make up about half our workforce. But they still make 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. That is wrong. And in 2014, it's an embarrassment. Women deserve equal pay for equal work.
And here comes the sexism thing, the war on women. By the way, I'll be getting into this more on my show tonight. They're ramping up for Hillary 2016 by already laying the ground that any talk against her is sexist. It's because you don't like her because you're sexist now. Instead of being racist now, you're sexist. Yes. That's the new art.
From being a racist to being a sexist.
Yep.
Without sacrificing her job. A mother deserves a day off to care for a sick child or a sick parent without running into hardship. And you know what? A father does too. It is time to do away with workplace policies that belong in a Mad Men episode. This year,
let's 26 cents is going to make that difference.
The White House, businesses from Wall Street to Main Street.
He said that, and he said it should have been in a Mad Men episode.
I believe when women succeed, America succeeds.
You see what he's doing?
Oh yeah.
He's rallying them up for whatever support he needs, and he's laying the field for Hillary to run in 2016. I'm telling you, look at what they're doing. Watch now. You're seeing it. If you watch the news the past week and a half, 2 weeks, you've heard people say sexist or sexism, okay, on a couple different occasions on different stories.
But they're not the only ones stifled by stagnant wages. Americans understand that some people will earn more money than others. And we don't resent those who, by virtue of their efforts, achieve incredible success. That's what America's all about. But Americans overwhelmingly agree that no one who works full-time should ever have to raise a family in poverty.
Then why are you destroying the middle class, sir?
In the years since I asked this Congress to raise the minimum wage, 5 states have passed laws to raise theirs. Many businesses have done it on their own. Nick Shute is here today with his boss, John Serrano. John's an owner of Punch Pizza in Minneapolis. And Nick helps make the dough. Only now he makes more of it. John just gave his employees a raise to $10 an hour, and that's a decision that has eased their financial stress and boosted their morale. Tonight I ask more of America's business leaders to follow John's lead. Do what you can to raise your employees' wages.
That way, my masters over at the Federal Reserve can sick their dogs, the IRS, on them and get even more taxes, because $10 an hour makes more money for me to tax and line my pockets with and the pockets of my masters.
State legislator in America, I say you don't have to wait for Congress to act. Americans will support you if you take this on. And as the chief executive, I intend to lead by example. Profitable corporations like Costco see higher wages as the smart way to boost productivity and reduce turnover. We should too. In the coming weeks, I will issue an executive order requiring contractors to pay their federally funded employees a fair wage of at least $10.10 an hour, because if you cook our troops' meals or wash their dishes, you should not have to live in poverty.
Here's the best part about this. There you go. There's one executive order he openly announced. The other ones were kind of hidden in rhetoric. But this doesn't affect, by the way,
to reach millions more,
it doesn't affect.
Congress does need to get on board.
Oh, here we go. Wait.
Today, the federal minimum wage is worth about 20% less than it was when Ronald Reagan first stood here. And Tom Harkin and George Miller have a bill to fix that by lifting the minimum wage to $10.10. It's easy to remember, 10-10. This will help families. It'll give businesses customers with more money to spend. It does not involve any new bureaucratic program. So join the rest of the country. Say yes. Give America a raise.
Now, so people know that executive order, the one he's signing, is for federal contractors. It only affects future contracts. So all the contracts that they currently have, those people are still getting paid slave wages, even whatever the wages that they've worked out with the employer. So if someone's getting paid $6 an hour, by him signing that executive order, it doesn't make them get paid more. Any future contracts, the employees will get paid more on, but not here. And guess what? If they're getting paid more, you can bet they're going to bill more. Duh. So who do you think is going to pick up the tab, ladies and gentlemen? You.
At some point in their life.
So guess what? You're paying for your own raise. Duh.
It doesn't do enough for single workers who don't have kids. So let's work together to strengthen the credit, reward work, help more Americans get ahead. Let's do more to help Americans save for retirement. Today, most workers don't have a pension. A Social Security check often isn't enough on its own. And while the stock market has doubled over the last 5 years, that doesn't help folks who don't have 401ks.
It doubled because the Federal Reserve's dumping money into it, you moron.
To create a new way for working Americans to start their own retirement savings. MyRA. It's a new savings bond that encourages folks to build a nest egg.
Buy more bonds.
MyRA guarantees a decent return with no risk of losing what you put in. And if this Congress wants to help, work with me to fix
what is it, selling war bonds?
Tax code that gives big tax
probably
breaks to help the wealthy save, but does little or nothing for middle-class Americans. Offer every American access to an automatic IRA on the job so they can save at work just like everybody in this chamber can. And since the most important investment many families make is their home, send me legislation that protects taxpayers from footing the bill for a housing crisis ever again and keeps the dream of home ownership alive for future generations.
But wait, hold on. The whole housing crisis was caused by them. Does anybody understand what the housing crisis was caused by? You have to go about. I have to do a whole show on that, but just go look up what really caused the housing crash. Just Google it or look it up on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find evidence. It was these scumbags. It wasn't.
More than a broken healthcare system.
Liar.
And in case you haven't heard, we're in the process of fixing that.
Really? You call that being fixed?
Wow, he loves to jerk off his ego, doesn't he?
Someone like Amanda Shelley.
He's looking in the mirror as he does it, John.
And single mom from Arizona couldn't get health insurance. But on January 1st, she got covered.
What about the millions of people that lost their coverage and can't get covered?
On January 3rd...
Now she has to take her whole paycheck to pay for it.
On January 6th, she had emergency surgery. Just 1 week earlier, Amanda said, and that surgery would have meant bankruptcy. That's what health insurance reform is all about. The peace of mind that if misfortune strikes, you don't have to lose everything. Already, because of the Affordable Care Act, more than 3 million Americans under age 26 have gained coverage under their parents' plan. More than 9 million Americans have signed up for private health insurance or Medicaid coverage. 9 million. And here's another number, 0. Because of this law, no American, none, 0, can ever again be dropped or denied coverage for a pre-existing condition like asthma or back pain or cancer.
But there are people that are being denied insurance for pre-existing conditions.
No woman can ever be charged more just because she's a woman.
You see how they're all... He's acting like there's no problems with the healthcare law. How about forcing guys to buy insurance, maternity insurance, in case they get pregnant? Not in case their wife gets pregnant, in case that guy gets pregnant, because that's not physically possible, but hey, you need insurance for it.
Prescription costs for
I'm late.
Now,
so, dude, it's just...
I do not expect to convince my Republican friends on the merits of this law.
Oh, of course. Blame it. See how they frame it? Republican, Democrat. Not that there's millions of people that lost coverage. And by the way, he said 9 million people signed up for Obamacare. Then why are the headlines now that only 3 million have officially signed up for Obamacare?
Let's see if the numbers are
propaganda.
I forget which state it was. One of the states, nobody signed up for it. Nobody.
To repeal a law that's already helping millions of Americans like Amanda.
You see? He just set up, without even hearing it as we were talking in the background, I know what he did. He just set up the argument that the Republicans are the bad guys if they repeal Obamacare. And that, basically, why would you go after a law that helps people get access to health care? How about bringing in the people that voted and for you and backed Obamacare and then lost their insurance? How about bringing them in so they can speak, Barry?
The first 40 were plenty.
I'm going to mute it because we got the end of the show coming up, John.
Yeah, we got about 30 seconds.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out tonight and discussing.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Popeye.
Hey,
everybody, stay tuned in a few minutes with Down the Rabbit Hole with Popeye, where he'll be continuing this coverage of the national propaganda. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, I have to go get a new barf bag. My current one is full. I have to go get a new one. Ugh. And ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Continuing coverage of the Reich minister's propaganda. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition. It's Tuesday, January 28th, 2014. Let's get right back into it. If you've been listening from the previous hour over on Joe's show, I've been covering the State of the Union address. So let's get right back to it. And I have a few other things I want to get into tonight, but let's go back into the live coverage of the State of the Union address. He was talking about the Afghan war and veterans when I muted it. So here we go.
Danger remains. While we've put al-Qaeda's core leadership on a path to defeat, the threat has evolved as al-Qaeda affiliates and other extremists take root in different parts of the world. In Yemen, Somalia, Iraq, Mali, We have to keep working with partners to disrupt and disable those networks. In Syria, we'll support the opposition that rejects the agenda of terrorist networks. Here at home, we'll keep strengthening our defenses.
How are you going to tell the difference?
New threats like
Sir?
cyber attacks.
How are you going to tell the difference between who's Al-Qaeda and who's a quote-unquote rebel?
Keep faith with our men and women in uniform and invest in the capabilities they need to succeed in future missions.
He wants you to invest in the military-industrial complex. That's what he just said. We have to invest in more tanks, bullets, bombs, rockets, and guns. Screw the infrastructure. We need more toys. And then we're going to send your kids to die using them while these idiots clap.
We have to remain vigilant. But I strongly believe our leadership and our security cannot depend on our outstanding military alone. As Commander-in-Chief, I have used force when needed to protect the American people. And I will never hesitate to do so as long as I hold this office. But I will not send our troops into harm's way unless it is truly necessary, nor will I allow our sons and daughters to be mired in open-ended conflicts. We must fight the battles that need to be fought, not those that terrorists prefer from us, large-scale deployments that drain our strength and may ultimately feed extremism. So even as we actively and aggressively pursue terrorist networks through more targeted efforts and by building the capacity of our foreign partners, America must move off a permanent war footing.
So wait, we have to move off a permanent war footing while you invest in the military-industrial complex.
Prudent limits on the use of drones.
Oh.
We will not be safer
Oh.
if people abroad believe we strike within their countries without regard for the consequence.
Yeah, right.
That's why, working with this Congress, I will reform our surveillance programs, because the vital work of our intelligence community depends on public confidence, here and abroad, that privacy of ordinary people is not being violated.
But you are violating the privacy of ordinary people.
And with the Afghan war ending, this needs to be the year Congress lifts the remaining restrictions on detainee transfers and we close the prison at Guantanamo Bay. Because we counter terrorism not just through intelligence and military actions, but by remaining true to our Constitution.
I can agree that they need to close Guantanamo Bay. And part of the problem is there is infighting in Congress, but I really don't think he cares about closing Gitmo.
In a world of complex threats.
Sorry, I just don't buy it.
Our security,
especially not when they're looking to put upgrades to it.
Depends on all elements of our power, including strong and principled diplomacy. American diplomacy has rallied more than 50 countries to prevent nuclear materials from falling into the wrong hands, and allowed us to reduce our own reliance on Cold War stockpiles. American diplomacy, backed by the threat of force, is why Syria's chemical weapons are being eliminated.
No. Syria's chemical weapons are being eliminated, Mr. President, because the vice president, no, I don't even think it was John, was it? I don't even think it was the vice president this time. I think it was John Kerry that opened his mouth. One of them, I think it was Kerry, actually, that opened his mouth.
As we speak, American diplomacy is supporting.
They said, well, if they get rid of the chemical weapons, then, we won't invade. But he'll never get rid of them. So then they called his bluff.
To achieve dignity.
What does it matter?
Well, he's what he's saying is, look, we got the chemical weapons out through threat of force. Like he's backing up military action while at the same time saying we don't need, I don't support military action, just sending our troops wherever. But invest in the military-industrial complex. He literally said that without saying military-industrial complex. He said invest in the things our troops need to do their job. Well, what do you think he's talking about? The tanks?
And it is American diplomacy, backed by pressure, that has halted the progress of Iran's nuclear program and rolled back parts.
Why? Let me ask you this: why the hell do we want to roll back Iran's nuclear program? Aren't they a sovereign nation?
Right.
Last I checked, who's the only country in the history of the world to use nuclear weapons in warfare?
It's uranium. It's not installing advanced central.
That's what I thought. The United States.
Unprecedented inspections help the world verify every day that Iran is not building a bomb.
Which is true.
and with our allies and partners, we're engaged in negotiations to see if we can peacefully achieve a goal we all share, preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
Right, but there is idiots that are like, man, we should bomb Iran. Because World War III would be awesome.
Yeah, and it would be World War III, no doubt.
These negotiations will be difficult. They may not succeed. We are clear-eyed about Iran's support for terrorist organizations like Hezbollah, which threatens our allies. And we're clear about the mistrust between our nations, mistrust that cannot be wished away. But these negotiations don't rely on trust. Any long-term deal we agree to must be based on verifiable action that convinces us and the international community that Iran is not building a nuclear bomb. If John F. Kennedy and Ronald Reagan could negotiate with the Soviet Union, then surely a strong and confident America can negotiate with less powerful adversaries today.
You should see the Joint Chiefs of Staff staring at him right now like...
But even so, who are we to force our will upon anybody else? Yeah.
America, F yeah.
I love that video.
Threatens to derail these talks, I will veto it. For the sake of our national security.
I can guarantee you right now, there's somebody going, man, he's going to let the Muslim Brotherhood take over.
Yeah.
People, seriously? The only thing I agree with is that he's doing is actually trying to seek a diplomatic solution with Iran. Okay.
Yeah.
That's because I think his advisors and his people around him realize that World War III is game over. You know, Northern Hemisphere nuked. I mean, it's already nuked from Fukushima.
It's already nuked. Yeah.
It would be even worse.
Then Iran
double nuke.
Take an important step to rejoin the community of nations.
And by the way, why would Iran want to acquire a nuke to use on Israel? Everybody's like, oh my God, because they hate Israel. They want to annihilate Israel. Right, because nuking Israel wouldn't do anything to Iran. Oh, wait, fallout. Oh, that's right, it would come right back over. Oh, well, they don't care, Popeye. Those crazy Muslims, they'll kill themselves. It's jihad.
You know, you go over there, it's a totally different place than what people are sold.
Dude, Iran looks just like here in America. You know, I mean, some of the women are walking around in burqas and stuff, but some of them aren't.
We have a really glaring similarity. We're all human beings.
Oh, Joe, now you're thinking too deep.
Yeah, I know.
With Europe remains the strongest the world has ever known.
Oh, you mean NATO?
Yeah.
From Tunisia to Burma.
We're invading everyone.
Those who are willing to do building democracy. In Ukraine, we stand for the principle that all people have the right to express themselves freely and peacefully, and to have a say in their country's future.
Wait, really?
Across Africa,
Occupy Wall Street, anyone? I don't know. Tea Party getting attacked by the IRS, anyone?
NDAA.
You know, don't worry about that. You're free to protest while I pepper spray you in the face.
The U.S. is a battlefield.
And we will continue to focus on the Asia Pacific.
Because it's the most militarized part of the planet right now.
Yeah.
Security and prosperity.
Even though it glows in the dark.
Oh, Trans-Pacific Partnership.
As we did in the Philippines.
That wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Civilians rushed to aid those battered by a typhoon, and who are greeted with words like, "We will never forget your kindness."
Oh.
And God bless America.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, yeah.
We do these things because they help.
How about the sailors on the USS George Washington or USS Ronald Reagan that now glow in the dark, and they're all getting radiation sickness, and they all have thyroid problems, and one of them can't even walk anymore. How about him? How about those people that you sent into harm's way?
America, F yeah.
He already did his back riding of the veteran crowd.
The red, white, and blue into the Olympic Stadium and brings home the gold.
Ugh. Now he's using the Sochi Olympics.
My fellow Americans, no other country in the world does what we do.
Weren't you born in Kenya?
The world turns to us.
Test tube.
Not simply because of the size of our economy or our military might.
Connecticut Social Security
because
number.
of the ideals we stand for.
CIA connections.
And the burdens we bear to advance them.
But he smoked pot.
No one knows this better than those who serve in uniform.
Oh, here we go. Ride the backs of the military again.
As this time of war draws to a close,
yes,
a new generation of heroes returns to civilian life.
One ping.
With
we'll
DU
keep
poisoning.
Slashing that backlog so our veterans receive the benefits they've earned, and our wounded warriors receive the health care, including the mental health care that they need.
Bullshit.
One ping only, please.
I have to turn this down because I'm going to vomit right now. Okay.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, because that would actually be more appealing, and I would.
No,
rather
I'm going to vomit right now.
I would rather listen to your dry heaving than the president. That's how bad it is.
All our veterans translate their skills and leadership into jobs here at home, and we will all continue to join forces to honor and support our remarkable military families.
We're going to need internment camp operators.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me tell you about
Club Fed.
Those families I've come to know.
Here we
First
go.
met Corey Remsburg, a proud Army Ranger, at Omaha Beach on the 65th anniversary of D-Day. Along with some of his fellow Rangers, he walked me through the program and the ceremony. He was a strong, impressive young man, had an easy manner, he was sharp as a tack, and we joked around and took pictures, and I told him to stay in touch. A few months later, on his 10th deployment, Corey was nearly killed by a massive roadside bomb in Afghanistan. His comrades found him in a canal, face down, underwater, shrapnel in his brain. For months, he lay in a coma. The next time I met him in the hospital, he couldn't speak, could barely move. Over the years, he's endured dozens of surgeries and procedures, hours of grueling rehab every day. Even now, Corey's still blind in one eye, still struggles on his left side. But slowly, steadily, with the support of caregivers like his dad, Craig, and the community around him, Corey has grown stronger. Day by day, he's learned to speak again, and stand again, and walk again. And he's working toward the day when he can serve his country again. My recovery has not been easy, he says. Nothing in life that's worth anything is easy. Corey is here tonight. And like the Army he loves, like the America he serves, Sergeant First Class Corey Remsburg never gives up and he does not quit. Corey.
Now, although I admire this kid's, as a veteran, you know how I feel about disabled vets, and I admire this young man's courage and what he's been through, and I feel bad for what he's been through. But they're using this kid as a political backdrop. Yeah. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
What is he pushing with this, other than bringing out a certain emotion in you?
That's all it is.
Exactly. This is him pulling strings like a puppet master right now.
Yep.
And obviously he's got string pullers too, because he's a puppet himself. But this is disgusting. As a veteran, I'm sorry, but
he's reading the teleprompter. I mean, he's just doing what he's told.
And I'm sorry, but this is disgusting. And this kid does deserve standing ovation for surviving what he survived. But why was he on 10 tours of duty? They didn't even do that to the Vietnam guys. Why is he on 10 tours? Do you know what that does to somebody? You know what one tour does to somebody? And look at them all. They're all clapping because how much money have these people made while sending our kids like this young gentleman? It's disgusting, dude. They sent this kid to kill and possibly be killed while they sat back in the comfort of their homes, and now they're going to use him as a political backdrop. Look at him smiling, looking at him. That's right. That's right. I got everybody.
My fellow Americans, men and women like Corey remind us that America has never come easy. Our freedom, our democracy has never been easy. Sometimes we stumble. We make mistakes. We get frustrated. We're discouraged. But for more than 200 years, we have put those things aside and placed our collective shoulder to the wheel of progress to create and build and expand the possibilities of individual achievement.
He's speaking just like he did
to free other nations from tyranny and fear.
During campaign speeches, listen to the pitch in his voice.
To promote justice
and the tone.
And fairness.
And how he presents himself.
And equality under the law, so that the words set to paper by our founders are made real for every citizen.
It's all to elicit an emotional...
Yeah, exactly.
The America we want for our kids
is a police state, a Gestapo.
Honest work is plentiful and communities are strong.
Bring up the kids.
Slave labor. Go to the rescue center.
It's widely shared.
It's for the kids, Joe.
An opportunity for all.
It's for the children.
As far as our dreams and toil will take us, none of it is easy.
Yes, we can.
But if we work together.
He does the dramatic William Shatner pause.
What is best in us. The way Corey summoned what is best in him, with our feet planted firmly in today, but our eyes cast toward tomorrow, I know it is within our reach.
We want to bet this is his closing.
Believe it. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Boom! I should have bet money on it.
Douchebag.
Ugh.
He's a big douche.
Dude, they're all just standing there. Look, this is all you hear right now. Yay, tyranny. Yay, let's all clap for police state.
Yay, police state. Yay, surveillance state.
Ooh, yay, police state. Woohoo, yay, Joe, we need more NSA spying. You missed it right before we went, because just in case people don't realize, Joe lost.
Yeah, I lost power, dude. Yeah. Okay, so we get like a storm like this once in every 5 years. And you would think, because it's so freaking cold, that the snow is not of the sticky, heavy persuasion. It's of that white, powdery persuasion. So we're not even talking any weight. And we get about 4 inches on the ground right now. We're supposed to get 12. But it doesn't stop people from driving into poles and knocking the power line down. Apparently. You know, in my county, we have 0 plows. And we have 0 salt trucks. We don't have trash collection. We don't have any sort of services like that.
Oh, my God. Who will build the roads?
I know. Somehow we get by. So you have to be careful when you're out there. And there's always those that they see the snow and they lose their effing mind and find the first electric pole or telephone pole that they can drive into, and it's almost like attracting magnets.
You were there 1 minute and gone the next.
And they just have 1 minute I'm driving, the next time I have a telephone pole lodged into the front of my car. I have no idea what happened.
Well, I knew something happened because you were sitting there giving critique, and then we paused to let the speech go, and all of a sudden, bloop.
Yeah, and that's about the times that the light flickered, and then we got one more. It was like the death row, and that was it.
That's okay. Well, I finished up commentary with John, and then I just rolled it right into the beginning of my broadcast here. Ugh, I feel bad for the listeners that you had to deal with Obozo there for a few minutes. But hey, we have to listen to the Reich Fuhrer once in a while, right? So we can dissect.
You know, it's important that we do this and we highlight just how much of a propaganda pitch this is.
Well, actually, hold on. From what I understand, hold on, Joe. I think there's still a little bit more left to the speech. Hold on. Let me go back and see if there's actually anything left to the speech itself. Stand by.
Und niemals verwildern und niemals verzagen und niemals verteilen. Eine neue Volksgemeinschaft wird in Deutschland aufgebaut, denn es ist das schönste und gefährlichste Ziel, das es gibt.
Dude, if you ever read the Hitler speeches, by the way, that was speeches from Hitler. Yes, I'm comparing the current dictator to that dictator. If you ever read the speeches given by Hitler with their, like, you listen to them and you see how he was, he would get people all emotionally, amped up, and he could, just by raising his hand, he could get the whole chamber to rise and whoa, right? He was good at that. Read the description and the translation of what he's saying, and it's like looking at the politicians today. It's like watching what you just saw. And before this aired, by the way, because I was talking about this with Joe off air, and I know that I had messaged him while he was actually doing his show before I came on with him around 8:30. I told you about this. When you went to the live shot from YouTube, not the one on C-SPAN, because most people went to the YouTube because they know that that's where the YouTube link is going to be the one where most of the younger crowd goes, right? So they had a couple 100,000 at least watching on the live feed, and before the feed started, they were playing all this propaganda. Stuff that must have cost a pretty penny to produce, by the way, because it didn't look cheap at all. I was like, oh my God. I was actually so surprised by what, just the blatant propaganda, that I actually started tweeting about it before even the State of the Union, because there's a couple different hashtags for it, and I just started repeatedly tweeting how the Reich Fuhrer would be so proud. It's just, dude, it's utterly insane. And for people to not see this, like you saw, I said, Joe, I sent you, I told you, I said, Joe, go to the YouTube link and look at the channel now, off air on Skype. And you went and looked at it while you and Johnny were chatting. And you were like, I even heard you on air. You were like, and now people, if you go to the live channel.
I just, by the way, I'm still on this Twitter frenzy here. So I just put it, hashtag so too. I nominate Barack Obama for Best Actor in a Drama for his performance tonight. Bravo!
Weren't one of the award shows 2 weeks ago? Not the music one. That was the other night with all the satanic rituals. I mean, the other one. I think there was one for movies or TV or whatever. Maybe it was the Emmys or whatever. He could have gotten an Emmy.
Yeah. Oh, dude, definitely.
Who gets the supporting actor category? Is it Biden or Boner? One of the two.
No, supporting actor. I would have to say it would be that guy, the Army Ranger, that sat there and was the backdrop.
That is so, dude. Let me just tell you how
disgusting that is.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It is disgusting. It's already disgusting what they did to the kid by setting him on 10 floors.
Yeah, they're using him to advance agendas, and it's no good, dude. That's the thing is, look. If it was me and I was in that position and the president came to me, hey man, I want you to be my personal guest tonight. No, you know what, Barack, I really appreciate the opportunity, but I don't need the attention. I'd just much rather hang low.
Usually what they do is they go out when they have a State of the Union address. It's not like, they make it out like they singled him out and went after him specifically. They usually try to line up 10 or 15 people that they can bring. And then they get background stories and stuff and blah, 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 blah. And they use their story in the speech. The speechwriter uses that story in the speech, as you heard tonight. Again, it was all emotion. It was all, for the kids, for the future, global warming, police state. And if the Congress won't help, I'll just do it. Executive action. He said the term executive action one full time, but then alluded to it with other speak. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. So, Joe, for the past about hour, 20 minutes, we've been listening to the State of the Union propaganda from the Reich Fuhrer himself. And it's just, dude, really? I mean...
let me tell you something.
Really?
It's political theater is all it is.
You think?
Yeah, it's political theater, but the psychobabble, too, that was going on with the Sergeant First Class up in the thing, they always have the sorry little SAP veteran up there that got blown up by an IED up there in the crowd. And I'm not knocking the guy, don't get me wrong, but you have to realize when you're being played for a fool. And you're being played for a fool. You're just a little showpiece for him to dangle in front of all of his friends and say, oh, look at how this guy persevered through all the illegal wars and all the BS. Look at this success story after he got blown up by an IED. Whereas if we didn't go there in the first place, old Sergeant First Class, whatever his name is there, wouldn't have gotten blown up by an IED, and he'd be just fine. But, of course, we go stick our nose where it doesn't belong, and that's what happens. Oh, well, Joe, you're an isolationist. Yeah, that's exactly what I am.
Well, while you were fighting the winter weather over there and dealing with the power outage, he mentioned veterans and stuff already previously. And by the way, I like how all those the members of Congress and the senators and everybody sitting there clapping. Oh yeah, we love the troops. They give the standing ovation to the troops. These are the same dirtbags that passed that bill. Was it 2-3 weeks ago? That cut money out of veterans' pensions and disability payments to disabled veterans, and then they had to go back after they passed the bill because there was so much outrage publicly that they went and the only thing they did amend for the disabled veterans, but they still left the regular pensions where they're taking a cut. And so people understand they literally proposed cuts, and they did them to disabled veterans. And then you see them clapping. Oh, we love the veterans.
Oh, we love that. Yes. Oh, good cheerio and all that. Yes.
Yes, we love using them as a walking mat. Oh, we love the veterans. Please let me use your back.
Let me say this too. A lot of people say, well, they clap like that because it's decorum. when you're in the hallowed halls, the chambers of Congress. It's decorum for you to clap like that, even if you don't agree with the person. Da 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 da. Okay. But look, this is how life really is over there. You don't understand. They don't hate each other. They may act. There may be a few people, little bad blood here and there, but it's not as cutthroat as you might think it is. And that's why I call this is like the Daytona 500 of the political drama that unfolds each year, is the State of the Union. That's what it is. It's the Daytona 500, okay?
But if you break down the whole address, there's none of it's real.
It's all bullshit. It's all fillers.
Dude, it's literally like I felt like we just watched like a live act play.
Because it was.
Basically. I mean, that's what it was. It was like an off-Broadway play.
Yeah.
That's actually way more expensive if you think about it, because we paid for all of that. How much money did we just get? How much money do you think they spent on that?
See, and therein lies the problem, because people don't equate this sort of crap to waste, fraud, and abuse, which I do. I mean, I think it's totally waste, fraud, and abuse. To me, the fact that Congress goes there that much, it's criminal. The fact that they get paid that much, it's criminal. Well, how are they supposed to do it? Oh, I don't know. How did the Founding Fathers do it? How did the first couple of Congresses do it? Oh, they rode by horse and buggy, and they made their living because they were lawyers, or they were farmers, or they were whatever they were. On the outside, their second job, that was of going to Washington, D.C. or Philadelphia.
What's a second job?
Yeah, well.
They don't know what a second job most middle Americans.
No, they have a second job now. It's called insider trading, and they make plenty of money doing that.
Yeah, but that's not really a job. That's just easy.
That's just an adventure.
And by the way, it's illegal for you or me to conduct an insider trading, but Congress actually passed a law that they're exempt from it and are allowed to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's not so much an exemption. Oh yeah, you remember Lethal Weapon 2? And the South Africans, remember
diplomatic immunity.
You're blick. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so remember the diplomatic immunity. See, what you don't understand is at the end of the movie, he got a bullet right in the forehead.
That's what I'm saying. Well, and what did Danny Glover say? Even though I can't stand Danny Glover, what did his character say? He was like, immunity or whatever revoked.
Yeah, your immunity's been revoked or something like that.
Something like that. But that's what happens. These guys, they claim diplomatic immunity. They park wherever they want. They do everything from parking illegally to rape and murder.
Yep.
And they don't get in trouble for it.
Nope. Pedophilia.
Yep. Free pass.
Franklin cover up.
But hey, if you do it, it's immoral and wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. Pedophilia and child rape is completely wrong on any level.
But seriously, if it's equal justice under the law, okay, that means the law applies to everybody.
Could you say that first? Could you say that first word again?
Equal.
One more time.
Equal.
Okay. Now add quality after the end of it, and you have equality, right? And isn't that what they always talk about? We need. Oh, did you hear that part, or were you cut out by the storm at that point where he was talking about women's equality? and they were setting it. Oh, dude, I've already seen it. I called this during when I was on the air with John, but I've already called this on my show and on air with you before. They're prepping the ground now for Hillary 2016.
Oh, of course.
Everything now, the past 2 weeks I've seen MSNBC on different shows, different people. Oh, that's sexist. It's sexist to attack Hillary for certain reasons. Like somebody said something about Benghazi, and they're like, "Oh, it's just sexist." And then there was another commentator that they were talking about whatever award show was like 2 weeks ago. What was it, Emmys or whatever? And they had like Best Actor and Best Actress, and they did a whole like 10-minute segment about why it's sexist to have two separate categories. You should just have one category. And then it would, either the man or the woman wins it. You shouldn't break it down into best actor or best actress, even though that's what there are. There's actor, actress.
Yeah, we're just going to do away with the sexist too. Yeah,
that's what they want. Well, that's the androgynous stuff.
Yeah,
that's that because you have to blur the lines, and you have to. A lot of people think, oh, it's about they want to, it's about they're all just raving homosexuals. It's got nothing to do with that. That's just ignorant thinking. Okay, that's nothing to do with it. They're pushing an agenda. Okay, yeah. It's about their transhumanist agenda overall, and right. It's about what they're trying to get you to accept. And what they're trying to do is blur the lines with everybody and with everything. That way, people don't understand it. Like right now, when you're a kid, as you grow up, you're taught. At least our generation, you were taught, like, we have definitions of certain things, and it creates boundaries, and it helps. That's what creates the societal boundaries.
Yeah, they are literally boundaries, yeah.
They are literally, dude, they're literally breaking down societal boundaries on purpose. And people could say, well, that's a good thing. But no, it's not the way they're doing it. It's not happening naturally. It's being forced, and the way they're doing it is causing a problem because people can't tell the different one thing from another now.
Dude.
All the lines are blurred now.
They're doing occult rituals at the Grammys, and they're having the 13 pyramids with the all-seeing eyes at the Olympic Games. They're not hiding the fact what side they're on. If they could have the Goodyear blimp going over with a digital sign giving the 10 Commandments of Anton LaVey and the Satanic Bible,
Oh, dude,
they would do it. I mean, seriously, it just they have pulled out all the stops, and here's my problem.
It's right in your face.
But they believe in it. So why is it that there's so many out there that don't believe in the type of warfare that's going on right now?
Because they've been brainwashed. See, that's the trick. What's that old saying that I think it's in the Bible? Right? Or is it just a saying that says the greatest trick the devil pulled off was convincing the world he didn't exist? Right? Isn't that one of those idioms?
I don't know. I don't think it's in the Bible, but I know
whatever. It's one of those idioms that's attributed to Christianity or what?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? Okay. Well, there you go. The greatest trick in the world that these people have pulled is that they get people to be disconnected from the creative force, or as the Indians call it, the Great Mystery.
Great mystery.
And what you want to call it, the Great Mystery, call it the Great Mystery. Call it God. Call it whatever you want. Okay, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day if you're Jewish, if you're Muslim, if you're Christian. You're all of you are praying to the same energy. You just call it a different name and have different beliefs because I could get into a whole 2-hour show about religion. The point is, these people at the very top are all evil Satanists anyway, and they do horrific, horrible things. Okay, they don't believe in the same stuff you do. It doesn't matter if you believe in it or not either.
Right.
They do. Okay,
but that's the point. They do, and they draw power from it. You know, and that's the thing. People don't realize the power that they wield and what these little rituals, what they mean. There's a lot of significance to this, and the fact that they're doing it out in broad daylight like this is very, very, very indicative of the fact that we are that far along in the process.
Look at the Grammys, okay? And I said this to my wife, and now even she realizes it, okay? And it's right in your face. You just do is look at it. And I've said this before. Look, to the gay community, you guys are about to be used like the biggest political football. If you thought you've been used as a political football already, just wait, okay? Because guess what? It's coming. Well, look what they did at the Grammys. They did 33 gay weddings. And by the way, I don't care if gay people get married. I know some people have differences of opinion with me on that. I don't care. The point is, I really don't care about that. It's the number of what they did that's important.
That has absolute. That right there that's one of those arguments. That's a distraction argument. You know, the whole gay thing. It's a distraction. It gets you off course,
and it's to keep people divided.
It's to keep people divided.
It's to get people to be like, "Oh, you hate me," and it's another ism. It's natural law says we all have free will. Exactly. I don't care what anybody does in their personal life.
You do whatever you want to do,
as long as you're not hurting a kid or hurting somebody else or violating their natural law or hurting them. Whatever. I don't care what you do. It's not my business to tell you what to do. And if somebody has an issue with me, Popeye, no, God's law, but no, you know what? We should. If everybody would just practice loving each other instead of hating on each other for our differences.
The biggest thing that Jesus said. Love thy neighbor. Doesn't matter. Just love him.
Dude, if everybody would stop arguing, well, I don't like him because he's this or he's that, or I don't like her because she's this or she's that. That's how we're all controlled. That's why you can have, the dictator-in-chief go up on the podium there in between the two fasci. Again, if you don't know what fasci are, look up fasci. Fasci, the word fascist. Yeah, they go hand in hand. Trust me.
Not to mention, dude, who the hell are you to judge anybody else? Think about that. Who the hell are you to think that your way is a better way for everybody? Well, that's the thing. How arrogant and how programmed have we become?
But see, that's done on purpose, because then what they do is they take, and that's why there's certain topics that certain things that never really get resolved. You ever notice? And they always blame one side or the other. But it's like a volleyball. It always stays up in motion, never hitting the floor, because they need that to be like that. It distracts people and gets people fighting with one another. If it's not gay marriage, it'll be income equality. If it's not income equality, it'll be sexism now. Okay? And it's going to go from you're racist if you don't agree with policies to, when they start running Hillary, it's you just don't like her because you're sexist and you don't like women. It's a war on women, women's equality, women should vote for Hillary, first woman president. But I'm telling you, they're already prepping the field by they're already laying the argument out 2 years in advance. Everything is sexist. The past couple weeks, they started with this. Watch. I'm telling you, everybody needs to pay attention and start watching. Just watch these little clips once in a while from MSNBC or CNN. They're prepping the field, laying it out like, oh my God, it's sexism. And if it's not sexism, or if you're not homophobic, you'll be anti-whatever, you're racist, or whatever ism or ist they can use to get us divided on any level that they can, because they don't want us all realizing one basic, simple, common theme, that we all have one huge thing, besides the fact that we're all humans, okay, and we should just get along. If you can't get past that, if you have to get stuck on a theme, here's something that we can all get along and all buy into. Just like Bill Cooper said, what's the one thing we all have in common? Freedom. Because without freedom, you can't worship who you want to worship. You can't marry who you want to marry. You get it?
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Don't get distracted with all the side shite. Well, it's just not worth it, and not to mention the fact.
That's how come they can pull off propaganda like what we saw.
Oh, sure, yeah, like Sergeant First Class. What's his face?
Masterpiece Theater.
Yeah, that's all it is.
And I feel bad for that guy, by the way.
Me too. I do too.
Breaks for that guy as a veteran.
What a bum deal.
And as a human being, my heart breaks for that dude. Okay, yep. And I feel even worse because not only was he used once, but now this poor kid was used again. And and I'm sure he was. He doesn't know. He don't know.
He has no idea.
It's just disgusting. As somebody who analyzes this stuff and is a veteran himself, I find it morally repugnant that these pieces of shit ride on the back of disabled veterans.
You said repugnant. I love that word. I don't know why. It resonates with me.
These people make me sick. They absolutely just make me sick, dude. Seriously. And by the way, the same agenda for gun control is underway. He mentioned that too while you were gone.
It's a good thing that my power went out for that, because I definitely would have reached through my screen.
Mentioned it for like 10 seconds. He mentioned Sandy Hook, of course, and then if we can't pass laws or whatever, I'll keep doing what I can do with executive action, blah blah blah, basically, and moving on.
Hey, when are we going to take executive action? By the way.
Well, we should. I mean, we do actually run the country.
That's what I'm saying.
But let's keep giving him power. I mean, why do we need power? Why do we need control of anything? Oh, by the way, I mentioned the other day about gun control, how I did actually 2 shows where I repeatedly said that they're prepping the field with that too now. They're just like Holder said, they're brainwashing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But listen to this clip, because I want your opinion on it. Listen to this clip ABC just did about hidden cameras in guns with children. Oh my God! See, they're framing the argument of, oh my God, guns kill children.
Guns kill children.
We need to do something about guns.
At home today from Yale University about American.
Oh, by the way, the study from Yale. Just saying.
Oh yeah, Skull and Bones.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Guns. Every hour, a child is rushed to the emergency room because of gunshots. And ABC's anchor David Muir is here on a story we've been working on together for nearly a year. David?
That's right, Diane. The two of us teaming up and traveling across this country. And this evening, on the eve of our special report, Young Guns, later this week, those new numbers reported just today in the journal Pediatrics.
By the way, before he reports these numbers, did you hear what he said? They've been working on this report for a year.
For a year now. I mean, they've been deep in the trenches.
Don't bother looking at the NSA spying or the president violating things. By the way, Nixon resigned publicly for less. Just saying. I mean, he was, he had his fingers in the till like everyone else, but like
he was psycho. But wait a minute.
Yeah, he was part of Operation 40, where,
right?
Like with wet work operators. The mechanics, as they call them, assassins, ladies and gentlemen, that's what they were. Okay, he was involved in that. But hey, he was horrible. Nixon and Watergate. Rah! What about Obama and all his gates? No, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Let's worry about gun control. We've been doing a.
Hey, Craig in the chat room said Diane Sawyer's a big time drunk. No way, man. I would never have guessed that.
Right, that's why she needs so much foundation to cover up her rosy.
No, yeah, it's all the wrinkle lines. She's like the Marlboro woman.
Ugh. Diane Sawyer, another one. All right,
she's reptilian.
Let's try. I'll try to get through this, but I'm not going to be able to not interrupt it. And I know you're going to make me interrupt it too. So.
Of course I will.
Let's listen to the numbers. Let's see how many children are dying because of evil guns. The guns all get together. They have a yearly meeting. Hey dog, we got to kill kids. All the AK-47s are like, yeah, I'm down. Let's go. Pop, 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 pop. They're all in the corner. The AR-15s are like, perhaps we should be a little bit more responsible. No, screw you, dog. We're going to go out and shoot everything up.
Yeah.
Because, guns do that every year at their local.
Yeah, the guns do it.
Their yearly gun convention where they get together and plan deaths of human beings. I know. It sounds insane because it is, ladies and gentlemen. The evil doesn't lie in the heart of the inanimate object because the inanimate object doesn't have a heart. The evil lies inside the heart of the human being holding it.
I could stab you in the neck with my pen just as easily as I could shoot you and kill you.
Dude, in Australia they banned
it's just a tool.
They banned guns in Australia, and
are they going to ban pens?
And crime went up. And now instead of they have less shootings, but they have more stabbings, more strangulations, more suffocations. But hey, more blunt deaths like beating with
blunt deaths. Yeah, hammers.
But hey, I guess that's better than a gun, right? Anyway, back to this.
Looking at children and guns, the most recent statistics from
You see how they frame it. They
didn't even get to the numbers.
28 seconds into this clip, and they said children and guns. How many times already? What was that line from Hitler about keep the line simple or keep the lie simple and repeat it over and over and over?
Over and over again. You just pound it into their heads.
Yep. Oh my God, children, guns. They're trying to elicit an emotional response.
2009, and take a look tonight. They are eye-opening. The new numbers are arresting. Nearly injured every hour injured by a firearm in this country. The study tonight revealing that
according to their study, it says one kid every hour. 7,391 children per year hospitalized by guns. Now, is there only 7,391 hours in a year? Because they said a kid was injured once an hour by a gun.
No, because let's.
So I'm not a mathematician.
Let's figure this out here, Chester.
Again, to the listeners, if you want to do the math, let
me get my abacus out real quick, and
7,391 children per year, Joe, are hospitalized by guns. Dun, 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 dun! I'd like to see really where the numbers are. How about the children that are shot by overzealous police officers per year? How about that? Can we include those?
Actually, there are 8,760 hours in a year.
Okay, so that means that they're about, they're about 1,400 hours, 1,300 hours off, because they just said in one line that every hour a child is hurt by a gun in this country, and then now their numbers are 7,391 are hospitalized. Oh, I guess those 1,300 of them didn't have to go to the hospital. But the other 7,391 did. Dun, 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 dun. Kids and guns, emotional response. Dun, 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 dun.
7,391 children rush to the hospital every year with those gun injuries, so often accidents in the home. 453 of those children die at the hospital.
You've seen it often when it's an accident inside the home.
Yes, I have, and it's devastating.
And it's devastating, yes. Hey, look, let me stop it there for a second. Accidents happen. Hate to say it, they do. Nobody's perfect, you know. How many times have you cut yourself with the with the kitchen knife and then had to go get stitches at the hospital?
Well, we're gonna have to regulate that.
Yeah, you know.
Because
how many accidents are there where you maim yourself?
You're a burden on our healthcare system if you cut yourself and have to repeatedly get stitches. See, if the government passes a law that says it's illegal to cut yourself with your knife,
how many carpenters out there cut a finger off with a circular saw?
And they should be banning circular saws. They're dangerous to the general public. Cutting wood. So what? You got to construct things? Too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad. Look, that saw could be used. That's an assault saw. If you put that special guide on it, it's an assault. You know where it can run itself. It's an assault saw. I'm sorry, but if you can lock the button down and the saw will travel on its own across the wooden board, which some can. You know, modern technology. That's an assault saw. I'm sorry, but that's an added feature, and you could hurt somebody, Joe. That has to be regulated. In fact, that has to be banned. In fact, all saws should be banned. We should have to use our teeth to gnaw through wood like beavers, because saws could be laying on the ground and someone could actually...
But then you get a splinter in your lip.
Oh, well, you're very true. You see now, we have to ban... Okay, nobody can chew on wood either.
You can't do that. Plus, it's high in fiber. You'd overtax the wait a minute, if you municipal sewage system.
Oh, well, you see, again, you're being a burden on the Joe. You're just being a burden.
No, I'm just pointing out the obvious here. I'm sorry. Jason Pujo's response to this is arm the children.
Wait, it gets worse, because what they did. Well, I could tell you. I can't even play the rest of it. It's just disgusting. You could look it up. It's this secret undercover video from ABC. But at the end of the video, they go, now we're going to show you responses from the parents who said their kids know all about gun safety, and they have 2 unloaded guns in this room where they're watching from like outside with police, right? And the kids picked up the gun, but then they said, help, we found a gun, help, we found a gun. But one of the kids grabbed the gun and he kind of looked at it, he looked down the barrel. And the mother, and they showed the mother the footage, and she's all horrified because, she thought her kid was going to, well, I've taught my kid gun safety. The kids are also like 5 or 6 years old, okay? And yes, you know what? Sometimes, obviously, you probably maybe told your kid about maybe the level of gun safety that you taught your kid wasn't adequate enough. Obviously, if the kid's looking down the barrel, okay, then it wasn't adequate enough. But the whole test and the way that they shot the video and everything else, it's a straw man argument. It's an appeal to emotion. They show you 2 kids sitting by themselves, a black kid and a white kid, sitting in a classroom with nobody else in there, just them, and they leave the guns on the table, like on the table that the kids are sitting at. And then the kids start playing with it a little bit, and then the one kid he says, help, we found a gun, please come, help, we found a gun. Right? And it just, dude, it reeks. And people are gonna see this crap, and there are actually people that are gonna buy into this and lap it up. And just eat it up, like, I love propaganda, it's for the children, So disgusting, dude.
Ugh.
ABC, ugh. Disney.
Well, I mean, they're just,
Disney.
they've got puppeteers' hands up their tuchus.
Well, Disney. That's all I got to say. Disney owns ABC. So
what does that have to do with anything, man? Disney, Mickey Mouse, come on.
Exactly. Your news.
Who's the leader of the club that's made for you and me? Come on, everybody. No?
All I got to say is ABC News is brought to you by the same company that brought you Pirates of the Caribbean. Just saying.
And Aladdin.
Right, exactly. So, and a bunch of other fairy tales. So, just saying. I mean, and they also own Marvel Comics, which they ruined and killed, and Lucas Arts. Oh my God. Ugh, I don't even want to talk about it. I want to go bomb it now. Thanks for hanging out, Joe, and covering the State of the Union.
Oh man, that's swell, man. I had a great time.
The state of the Reich, I should say.
Yeah, the state of the Reich.
The state of the Reich. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with hour number 2 here at tonight's live edition of DTRH. I am your host, Popeye, from federaljack.com. It's January 28th, 2014. Hour number 3 here for my airwave riding tonight. Yes, I know it's only hour number 2 of the broadcast, but I rode Shotgun on Joe's show for the second hour while we covered the State of the Reich address, which I'll be putting up our coverage of the State of the Union address as its own little video, and then I'm going to put up the full 3 hours where I was on with him going into the beginning of this broadcast for like a full 3 hour just continuous broadcast for the archives on YouTube and the audio archives on Federal Jack. But anyway, I digress. So there's a few other things I want to get into here in the final hour. I want to thank Joe for coming back on and hanging out for the second hour with me. Well, second hour of the 3 hour, but my first hour. I know, I've just confused everybody. People are like, what the hell did you just say? Who's on first? Oh, God. Sometimes you just have to laugh, ladies and gentlemen. It's been insane, right? So, who saw the Grammys the other night? Let's just talk about the obvious elephant in the living room. Who saw the Grammys? Anyone? Bueller? If you didn't, I'm going to put a link in the chat room. I'm sure people already probably did. But if you want to see what I'm talking about, you can go to the chat room right now, live, click the link, or go over to Vigilant Citizen. If you're listening to the archives, go to vigilantcitizen.com, and it should be right on the front, but if it's not, just look in his little search, the site up at the top there, and just type in 2014 Grammy Awards, and I'm sure the article will pop right up. He's got a huge, huge article breaking down the 2014 Grammys, going over what you saw, and I could sit here and read the whole thing, but it would take me the entire, the rest of the next hour. And honestly, if I'm going to break this down, I would rather go over this in like a show where I specifically spend like 2 hours going over this stuff. I'd rather break it down in full detail and play some other audio clips and stuff for you guys to understand. I have a few things I might add, to my commentary on it here or there, but I think I'm going to have to do a show where I break this stuff down in full detail. I'm going to have to read the full article from Vigilant Citizen, and then I'm going to I have a whole bunch of information for you all to hear. I'm sure most of you have heard it before if you listen to my older broadcast on the subject of Satanism and their agenda with, black magic and witchcraft. But so you understand that anybody involved in the music industry is a witch. Okay, and this is not for me. This is what people are going to probably laughing right now, going, "My God, Popeye's crazy. I do music, and I just got signed by a company, and I'm not a witch or anything." Well, these people, these big stars like Katy Perry and stuff, they're brought into these inner circles, whether they're witches or warlocks, or whether they have to be some sort of level of whatever you want to call it, Satan worshiper. I would say more of a witch, because in Katy Perry's case, what you saw was an actual ceremony. It was an actual black magic ceremony. This is disgusting, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't understand what's going on, you need to educate yourself. If you think this stuff is crazy, no, I don't want to talk about this, Popeye. This stuff makes me uncomfortable. This whole satanic music stuff. This stuff bothers me. It really freaks me out. I don't like it, Popeye. I can't talk about this stuff. It bothers me because it scares the crap out of me. I don't like to talk about this stuff, Popeye. I don't believe in that stuff. I'm a hardcore Christian, Popeye. I don't believe in that stuff. Well, it doesn't matter if you believe in it. These sick bastards do. And look, over the years, people laughed at me for bringing the stuff up and saying that this is a huge problem and going into detail and talking about the levels of Satanism and all the stuff and evil that they do. People laughed at me. You know what? I don't care. You can laugh at me all you want. It's blatantly in your face now. Even E Entertainment, the news network, they tweeted right after Katy Perry's performance, they literally tweeted, Did we just witness her, summon a demon or summon Satan? Or try to summon Satan? Something to that effect. You can go. There's articles all written about it. You can see all these other people even the people that might not be inclined to believe in this stuff were saying, "Holy crap! What did we just witness? Was that a ritual?" Yeah, it was a ritual. You guys remember John Todd, right? I brought him up multiple times before. I've played some of this audio before. This is what I was talking about the music industry and about being a witch and stuff. And I had in my interviews with Fritz Springmeier, because some people will say that John Todd was fake or whatever because there was contradictions. I talked to Fritz Springmeier about this on multiple occasions. Interviews are in the archives, and Fritz has explained John Todd. He was a multiple. That's why some of his things were contradicted. He had multiple personalities. He was an abuse victim himself. But you can go listen to that with Fritz Springmeier in my archives. I'm going to have to get Fritz back on. But I want you to hear this. This is John Todd talking about the music industry and the Illuminati. Listen.
On a council of 13 people that take orders only from the Rothschild Tribunal in London, which they claim they take their orders directly from Lucifer.
I was the manager of Zodiac Productions, which Zodiac Productions' name's been changed since then. I'm not even sure what they call it now, but it's the largest music conglomerate in the world. It owns RCA Records, Columbia Records, Motown Records, owns almost all the concert booking agencies in the United States. And that's not even the name of the company that owns it. The name of the company that owns it is Brenner Enterprises, and Brenner Enterprises is owned by Chase Manhattan. Chase Manhattan's owned by Standard Oil, and Standard Oil's owned by the Lords of London. You can track it on back. You kind of get the idea after a while. But I was the managing president of Zodiac Productions. It's one of my jobs as being one of these 13 people. Thus, I got to know many of the people who produce music and sing the music and play the music that you play. Now, one of the closest friends that I got during that time that I obtained was a man named David Crosby. Crosby, Still, Nash and Young. I saw David the day before Christmas last year, talked with him. I got him away from this witch that he had with him. He told her to go shopping. We were in West Hollywood, and I was witnessing around to people I knew. We went off in this store, and we started talking. I said, David, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. I said, I already know the answers, but I've been gone for 5 years. I'd like to know if certain things are still the way they were when I left. I said, now I'll have to explain some of this when I'm done, because you're not going to understand it all unless you know something about music. I said, do they still take the master to the temple room? Dave said, yeah. I said, do they still have the coven conjure demons into the master? He said, of course. I said, now, I got to know something. What's the main reason for rock music? He said, come on, Lance, you know what the reason is. I said, please, David, I don't want to guess. Tell me what the main reason is. He says, the same as when you were in, so that we can play spells on people that we couldn't cast spells upon. I'll explain what that means in a minute. I said, okay, one last thing. I've been hearing that you must be an initiated witch now to get a record contract. He said, that's right. He said, many of us that weren't total witches have to be witches now in order to produce music. I said, thank you. The master is a tape about as big as the top of this podium that looks like an overgrown 8-track that the album is cut on and is placed in a machine that produces and presses the records and the 8-tracks and cassettes that you buy. After it's been recorded, it's taken in. This is why a master is cut months in advance before it's released. On the full moon, it's taken in to a temple room about the size of this auditorium that is in every one of the major music companies, behind locked doors up in the executive offices. And it's placed on an altar, setting in the north of the room, and a pentagram engraved in the floor. And 13 hand-chosen witches and wizards in a coven come in and conjure a principality or a power up, usually Regia or something like that, and order him to tell the demons under him to follow every record and every tape coming off of that master. As I tell many Christian parents, you can go home and count your kids' records, probably yours too, and count how many demons at least are there. If that's too hard for you to believe, I'm sorry. That's why they do it. Now listen to me. This is why rock music's addicting. Have you ever seen kids that got rid of their music? They go around like this. They can't wait to find a rock station somewhere, and they sneak off just like getting a cigarette or a fix, because it's addicting. That's why.
Now, remember, this was the audio was taped in the 70s, replaced rock music. Remember, when I was a kid, rock music was evil, and there was stuff, if you go back and listen to some of the older stuff, you can even see that there was just blatant symbolism and things hidden right in there now that, we're older and awake. But fast forward to today and think about pop music or hip-hop. Same thing. They use the same method of control. So in the 70s, it was rock and roll. Now it's Katy Perry and pop music. And who was doing the satanic ceremony the other night?
They can't give it up. The rest of the conversation was this. You can't cast a spell on a Christian, but you can get a Christian to cast a spell on themselves. If you give the permission for the spell to work, being a Christian won't block it. And rock music is not just a song. It is supernatural music that which is carefully designed by their spirit guides or familiar spirits in the form of spells. Now, although the devil's music's power is the music and God's music is the words, much of the songs are written in what we call witch language. Give you kind of an idea. Many of you talk on a CB, unless you know what a smoky is, and a 10-4, and a front door and back door and rocking chair and these type of things. You don't know what you're talking about. Same with witches. When you're in the first or second level, you have to learn over 2,000 words that said by anybody else mean something totally different than when you say them. Elton John has said he's never written a song or sung a song that wasn't in witch language. And I want to show you something. See how many kids in here will be honest and adults. How many remember and have heard at least several times a song called Hotel California? Somebody tell me what it meant. Quickly, somebody tell me what it meant. Huh? That's pretty close. But from the words, what did it mean? Well, that's more of a guess. See, most people can't tell you. That's why when people do drugs and they listen to songs in which language, they get some of the meaning. But most of the time, they can't tell you. Stop and think how many songs are out there that you really like, and you don't have any idea what the person was talking about. Beyond the Yellow Brick Road? How about The Destroyer by Kiss? Can anybody tell me what it's about? Kiss said in it, kids, show your parents. They're talking about Helter Skelter. Beatles sung Helter Skelter in which language? Nobody knew what it meant. Manson did because he belonged to the process. Helter Skelter is a several thousand-year-old word. Most of the music is either about Helter Skelter or a place called the Night Winds, which is what Hotel California is about, and different doctrines of witchcraft. You listen to them, your parents let you listen to them, and they have no idea. Kiss openly bragged how they were gaining control of people through their music because the people played their music. They told how they didn't form their own group. Their church, because they were ordained ministers of the Satanist church, placed them together. And that's how most of the music is done. David Crosby, when him and Crosby, Still, Nash & Young produced the record Two-Way Street, they ordered the principality of Medici to order demons of rebellion to go into the record, and everybody that heard it would be rebellious against law and order and government. And it was one of the reasons for the great upheaval in the 60s was that one album. And they take open credit for it.
Now,
I have personally...
Some people, I'm going to pause it right there. Some people don't believe John Todd. Some people think he was fake, like I said. Some people have said that they've debunked him. I've talked to Fritz Springmeier about it. Even if you only believe half of what he says, even if you only take serious 50% of what he says, so you laugh at the rock and roll stuff. Okay. Look at the music today. You ever wonder why a beat gets stuck in your head? You listen to music you don't even like, but you like the song? Songs, music. I could do a whole show on this. I'm going to have to start getting it and just doing more historical broadcasts, like where I go back in time and start covering this stuff because it's important. I get caught up covering a lot of the current stuff too, but I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to. That's going to be my goal for the next couple of weeks. Is to do more broadcasts like that because people need to understand, like singing and stuff. Do people even understand where a song came from? Singing was how they passed stories and knowledge on before there was writing, because people could carry a tune and could sing and remember and study a song even without having grammar, because they could memorize what they heard without knowing how to write. Like the Odyssey, it wasn't literally written down by Homer. Homer was illiterate. It was sung by him. Iliad, same way. The first two texts that you usually read in English class. Well, I don't know what they teach anymore. When I was a kid, they still actually had you read real books. Singing came about from people passing knowledge to one another, whether it be knowledge, of the occult order, which, by the way, occult just means hidden. So hidden knowledge or stuff right out in your face. And it's still used to this day, by the way, to pass hidden messages from one group to another. But it's really used to control you. And these puppets, these Illuminati princesses, like, Christina Aguilera or Katy Perry or Britney Spears. Once you understand what these mind control victims go through, you really you're not so much, I don't attack them. Yes, what they all do is, like what you saw Katy Perry doing last night was morally repugnant, but people, you have to understand that she was probably not Katy Perry. She was probably whatever altar and whatever name they've got for it. They all have an altar that they perform as. MTV Music Awards. Miley Cyrus, when she came out with the mouse winking, and she did the twerking thing, when she steps out of the whatever it was, capsule, spaceship, whatever the hell it was, when she comes out, you see her stroking hair that's not there. Okay? And I made this observation, and you would have to be deep into the mind control research to understand this, but people with multiple personalities, if it's a personality, remember Miley just cut her hair short, right? If her personality that they use to perform didn't know that her hair was cut and that little piece of info was not put in there, she would think and believe that her hair is still long and blonde, and when she was in that personality, that's what she would see. It doesn't matter if it's not real, that's what she would see. And you see when she comes out, she's stroking her hair, and I pointed this out to Aaron and Melissa, Aaron Dykes and Melissa Melton, who, by the way, they're coming on Thursday. I pointed this out to them when we were talking about this, the MTV Music Awards ceremony. And you could see she's stroking hair that's not there, and she had just recently chopped her hair off. So why would she, pull hair that's not there? They could have just given her a wig if they wanted her to, play with her hair, for the scene. That's because that personality probably didn't have any clue that the hair was cut. And once you start to research multiple personalities and you start to research the subject of mind control, by the way, MKUltra is just an umbrella term for multiple experiments that they did. And the subject of mind control still goes on to this very day, by the way, on a huge mass level as well as an individual level. But when you see what these women go through, and there's guys too, but when you see what they go through, the torture and abuse that they go through, you have a little bit of pity for them, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to bash them and hate on them. Be like, oh my God, they're sluts, these stupid bimbos. We're not supposed to do that. I see a lot of so-called Christians doing that too. You're not supposed to be judging them and bashing them. If anything, and you understood what they went through, you would realize that they were puppets themselves and they've been used and abused. So you might not like what they've done, and there's certain things that they should be held accountable if they were in their right frame of mind. But again, a lot of these ceremonies, most of them, if not all of them now, when you see these women performing, they're not themselves. Even Beyonce has an altar she calls Sasha Fierce. She openly admits that when she goes on stage to perform, her other side comes out. By the way, that's what that nasty-looking creature that everybody saw, where they took the picture, and it looked like she was the Hulk. And people were like, man, that doesn't even look like Beyonce. I wonder what you saw. Remember, she said when she performs, she's not herself. Her other side takes over, her other personality. What? If you have multiple personality disorder, that's not normal. That doesn't, let's just be clear, okay? You can look this up and research this. People that have multiple personalities were abused, because that's where that comes from. You're not born like that. That comes from trauma and your body literally compartmentalizing that, shattering, your psyche shatters, and it creates another personality and compartmentalizes the one that was scared and afraid, and it compartmentalizes that one and creates a new personality just to survive. The Nazis practiced this. It's called trauma-based mind control. Just like what happened to us on a mass level, by the way. on 9/11. Go look up my show I did with Mark Passio about 2 years ago called The Occult Aspects of 9/11. Just go to federaljack.com, go in the search bar and type in Occult Aspects of 9/11 and listen to that broadcast and watch the slides that I have show up on screen as Mark and I are talking, because everything corresponds with what we're talking about. I know a lot of people are like, "Whoa, oh my God, you covered so much ground, Popeye. What? Huh? What? You're all over the place, Popeye. Mind control, huh? I know, but it's there." And before I run out of time, I want to play this clip because there's some other stuff I want to get into on the other side. So I want to play this clip really quick. This is from Aaron Dykes and Melissa Melton, and this is their analysis of the VMAs. Listen to me, the Grammy performance. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Because everybody knows it just wouldn't be a music awards show here in America if we didn't have a satanic ritual, some softcore porn, and a mass gay wedding. Melissa Melton here. You're probably wondering where I got the title of this video. Well, I'm not the one wondering it because I didn't watch the 2014 Grammys. I don't watch any of these major music performances because A, I don't have television, and B, we've been on a track record for many years now where all of these major performances like the Super Bowl and the Grammys and the MTV Music Awards, etc., add them all in there. Almost all of them have satanic symbolism, rituals being performed on stage. People want to act like that's just performing. That's just a performance. That's just acting. That's just art. You go ahead and act like whatever you think it is. But these people obviously believe it's a ritual. They're performing a ritual. And the people that are there are participants whether they like it or not.
You've got artists mimicking rituals, mimicking possession, many of them convincingly looking like they really are possessed by the devil. You've got esoteric and occultic symbolism that isn't explained to the public. It's bombarded upon their minds without most of the general public having any idea what it means or why it's being shown. That is wrong.
And things are getting more and more obvious to the point that they might as well just put a blinking sign, like drape it down from the ceiling that says, "We're performing a satanic ritual, everyone, just so you know." I mean, it's ridiculously obvious now, to the point that you have people all over Twitter after her performance actually tweeting, "Was Katy Perry trying to summon Satan with her Grammy performance?" So apparently Katy Perry tried to summon Satan last night during the Grammys. Good times. Katy Perry definitely attempted to summon Satan last night at the Grammys. And this just goes on and on and on. Everyone talking about how Katy Perry summoned Satan with her performance. You've got people asking, who does it better? Was Katy Perry better at summoning Satan, or was it Lady Gaga? I mean, even E! Online, the magazine, entertainment magazine, is saying, did we just witness actual witchcraft during Katy Perry's Grammy performance? And if you watch the performance, which obviously I'm not going to play the sound and play a lot of this performance because they'll just take down my video, because that's how YouTube is. But if you watch it, it's pretty obvious there's something going on here, and it's not just freaking singing and dancing, okay? And you go down, and the number one top comment on this video is by this guy DeLobo, says, "This is a ritual called the Witches' Sabbath. People were burnt for performing this ritual by the end of the Middle Ages. It's a ritual where a group of witches gathered at night being led by Satan after being summoned. There's an orgy and a feast of corpses, but don't take my word for it. Google searches pictures of Aquilaire, and you'll see images pretty similar to what the stage performance looked like." So then I did, and the guy's totally right. Look at all this. I mean, you've got the Baphomets, which she has all over her stage. You've got the circle of witches singing and the dancing and the burning of things going on. I mean, it does look like this. The guy's right. And then you've also got Beyonce up there with her husband dressed in full-on lingerie. And I know people want to say Beyonce was just being a strong, independent woman, but it looks to me a lot like she's just peddling her ass in front of everybody. And it's pretty disgraceful and pretty trashy. And she pretty much looks like a skanky slut. Sorry. I mean, apparently her nipple also slipped out too. Oops. My kid asked me if we had television, we had actually watched this together. And my daughter had asked me about Beyonce. That's the answer I would have given. That's what a skanky slut looks like, darling. And singing totally explicit lyrics about getting it on and moving her underwear over to do stuff and how her breastises are his breakfast. And I mean, this is not even disputed. This is just a straight up porn song. Okay? And I'm not prude, but this is on national, regular television that children watch. And of course, parents are angry. And they're saying that, you know, she's got this thong bodysuit on. She's straddling the chair. She's writhing around. She's dry humping things. I mean, whatever. The Beyonce fans rushed to defend her performance with her husband as, quote, inspiring. Yeah, that looks pretty freaking inspiring. You know what this inspires people to do? It inspires them to go make change for a 5 and get 5 1s. This is the kind of stuff that inspired me to kill my television. I'm inspired to feel sorry for her that she basically, I mean, that's one step away from just stripping down naked and just having sex on stage, which I guess will be at the Grammys next year, because I guess that's really cool. If they're not busy, obviously, summoning Satan. The next time you want to completely just rape your child of their innocence, go ahead and have them watch the Grammys.
Well said, Aaron and Melissa. Well said. Ladies and gentlemen, break coming up. Stay tuned. Got some wise words from Russell Means and his wife. Stay tuned. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Final segment. As I promised, I have an audio clip. I actually have 2 clips I'm going to play for you. The first one, as I mentioned earlier, is Russell Means and his wife. This is about, well, Russell's been gone for a little over a year now, so let's see. I'd say probably within the past 2 years this was shot, because this was shot not too long before he passed. So within the past year and a half, 2 years, this was shot. And it was his wife and him. And they're talking about the sacred feminine and gender roles. There was other stuff that they talked about in the interview, but this is the clip I want to play for you guys right now. I'm going to spend the last half hour, again, trying to put out some positive energy tonight. The rest of the week I have guests on, so I'm not going to be able to do this, so I want to do this tonight, and I won't be able to do it Friday, because Friday I will be taking off. I have some personal business to attend to, but I'll pick something good to play for you guys, so make sure you tune in anyway. But I'm going to have guests the rest of the week. Aaron and Melissa are coming on Thursday, and Kev Baker is supposed to be coming on, if I remember correctly, tomorrow, if everything goes well. Well, thumbs crossed. Kev Baker from Glasgow Underground News Network, Gun. Check him out here. Truth Frequency Radio. Great show, great guy. Just an all-around awesome human being. Kev's just a really good guy. He really has got a good heart. I mean, really, you want to talk about salt of the earth people, he really is. That's the type of person Kev Baker is. So he'll be hanging out with me tomorrow night if everything goes well. And then, as I said, Aaron and Melissa are hanging out Thursday. So I wanted to get into this tonight because it's important to talk about this stuff. We need to put out that positive energy. And for people, I know I'll play a clip sometimes repeatedly, over the course of a few weeks or months, and even over the course of doing my radio show, I play sometimes some of the same stuff. But I do that because it's important, because someone may not hear. I may have a new listener. There might be 2 or 3 people that are brand new listeners tuning in tonight right now for the first time, and they like my broadcast. And yeah, they could go in the archives, and I'm sure they will. If they like my newer stuff, they'll probably go back and listen to all my older shows, because it's all there on federaljack.com in the Down the Rabbit Hole archive section. You can download it all for free. There's a downloadable section where you can just rip all the audio for free, and I'm sure they will. But they might, I have over 300 shows up there. They might miss a show here and there. So it's important to reiterate this stuff, and it's important to pump it out across the airwaves, and then have it rebroadcast when the show is on, and an encore performance later on during the week or something, and someone hears it again, maybe the first time they hear it. So this is how we're going to counter the fear. The other night I talked about the fear vibe and love and everything else. I want you to hear some wise words first from Russell Means and his wife. So let's get into it. His wife, Russell Means and his wife, talking about the sacred feminine and gender roles in the Native American community, in the Native community, and we could learn a thing or two. Let's just listen to what they have to say.
Well, I think it's important to understand, to begin with, gender roles are important. I know in Western society that's frowned upon, but in indigenous societies, we have very real gender roles that we adhere to. So that's how we begin to define who we are, what our responsibility is, and create the boundaries for that.
In your way.
Now, before I even let it get any further, do you hear what she just said? They have gender roles because it helps set roles, it helps set boundaries, it helps people figure out their way in society. Why do you think so many people, again, are lost and they can't find their way? Everybody's, oh my God, I feel so lost, I feel so disconnected. What was I saying to Joe earlier? They've got everybody disconnected from everything. And, there's a lot of people that don't believe in anything. They're atheists, and the reason why that is because they've, the Catholic Church makes Christianity look really bad. Let's be honest. And there's other, different divisions of Christianity that don't do themselves justice either, but that's besides the point. All these religions, religion in general, God, the existence of something out there, like a creative force, something good like that, is being taken away. Right? They need you disconnected. Again, they need to blur the lines. And why? Because, like you heard her say, when you have certain definitions, it allows you to build society, a structure. And right now, the foundational walls are being obliterated, and they're not being built back up. They're just obliterating everything. They're knocking, quote unquote, the walls down. Well, by doing that, in certain situations, it's creating problems. They're literally deconstructing society, just so you understand what they're doing. That's why there's so much chaos going on right now. It's a planned agenda, ladies and gentlemen. Go read None Dare Call It Conspiracy by Gary Allen. Available, by the way, in the free ebook downloadable archive section on federaljack.com. Just go to the download archive, and it's there under ebooks, and then look under None Dare Call It Conspiracy. Anyway, back to Russell Means and his wife. I won't interrupt anymore.
What is the feminine role and what is the masculine role?
Well, we're charged with giving life, maintaining life, sustaining life. So that involves wellness, emotional wellness, nurturing, the foods that we feed ourselves and our families. The responsibility of nurturing our children and recognizing that our men need nurturing. Nurturing is a natural, inherent characteristic for women because we are capable of giving life. With a male, it has to be learned. So we recognize that with our men and our young males. So the first few years of a young male's life is surrounded by the mother, the aunties, the grandmother, so that they can feel and learn of the nurturing and the love before they go off to become a boy and a young man.
And within your marriage, if you could just briefly talk to us about what is the balance within your marriage with the masculine and the feminine, or the matriarchal and the patriarchal?
Well, because we recognize the difference, we honor the differences, we can celebrate the differences. I recognize my husband's strengths, and I try not to argue with them. And at the same time, my husband recognizes and celebrates my strengths. So it eliminates any competition. And males, we know, are very pragmatic. They are very strategic thinkers, problem solvers. And that's what they're charged with. And because we as women, we have an inherent power that you can't necessarily see or define, but you can feel it. And when you operate within that power, and that's very much respected in indigenous societies. In fact, in Western society, women after the second change of life are discarded. Yet in our societies, that's when we really become fully recognized and celebrated. And because we're at that point coming from a perspective of experience, we're no longer dealing with the hormonal changes and imbalances. So we're able to be more critical thinkers, and we always maintain that woman power that guides us and directs us. So we really hold a celebrated part in our society, as well as our relationships amongst our families. The clans, the individual, normally it's the eldest female of that clan has the last word. So there's a lot of respect.
Well, we could learn from that. Mr. Means, tell me about your wife's strength.
Well, first I want to say something about men go from diaper to diaper. Simple fact. You need a woman at the beginning of life to take care of you, and at the end of your life. And if you're foolish enough not to recognize that throughout your life, you'll never know love. As a male, you'll never know love. And that's the one thing I appreciate. You know, a mother's love doesn't stop with her children. It goes to her mate. And to be a recipient of that deep love that is stronger than I could ever hope to be. Wow. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. And recognizing that as a male, I will always, throughout every portion of my life, need nurturing. You know? And you can't get it by yourself. You can't get it from the mirror. And you only get it from your life mate. And like I say, I'm so blessed. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. But at least with my pearl, the great mystery has watched over me. And you know, I'm a typical little boy. I struggle against some of her wisdoms. And no, I don't want to do it that way. And then I start feeling a little bit sheepish, and I realize she was right. Yeah? So I make a decision based on that. The guidance that the females give to the male never stops from diaper to diaper. And the women do not go from diaper to diaper. They go from diaper to a full flowering of beauty. We men, we have a shorter life expectancy. So that's why indigenous society, matriarchal societies, matrilineal way of living, is based on a lot of intricacies. For instance, men do not marry until their feet, their mature body is firmly planted on the ground. They have their path ahead of them for the rest of their life. Then they look for a woman. A contemporary woman? No, that woman's already been married and had kids. He looks for the young woman who is entering her first budding of flowerhood to marry, because in matrilineal living, you understand you're going to live a shorter life. Who's going to take care of you? You need a mother at all times. Now, to a patriarch, that sounds primitive. That sounds ridiculous. And even to the female patriarch, that sounds ridiculous. What, do you give us all the work and all the responsibility? Hey, you're the only human being that goes through 2 changes of life. It gets more beautiful with each stage of your life. We men don't get to go through that. We don't get to understand the completeness of nurturing. You know, we never outgrow our childhood.
And do you understand why I played that, ladies and gentlemen? Do you understand that what I see coming, they're going to, because there's division all over the place. They're already laying the groundwork for sexism and sexist, and because they're going to run the first female president. If you don't agree with anything Hillary says, or if you're not for Hillary 2016, you're a sexist. And they're going to start to play it up. That's why they're prepping the field now. And they're going to use that to pressure and label people, just like they do racist. Well, you don't want to vote for Obama? Why not? What are you, racist? You don't want a black president? No, it's not that. Yeah, I see what it is. You're just racist. You just don't like black people. It's a straw man argument. But that's the same thing that's going to be raised now. And they're going to try to divide women and men. I mean, they already have divided women and men, but they're going to push it even more now because they're Hillary 2016. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I think we should do quite the opposite. I think we should celebrate the differences. There are differences between men and women. One works because of the other. We need each other, okay? I'm not attacking, this isn't a rant about attacking homosexuality or anything, so don't anybody take that out of context or anything. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is, right now, the way they destroyed the family, okay, look what they did with the feminist movement, right? And I've played audio, you can go look it up, where Aaron Russo talks about Nick Rockefeller telling him the whole story, how they funded it and why they did it, because now they can tax more people because now you got more people in the workforce and it helps break up the family. Okay? And that's what they continue to do. They're continuing to keep us all separated and fighting amongst each other. Okay? Guess what? Okay? I think we should celebrate the differences between men and women. Yes, there are differences. Okay? Everybody needs to stop with this. Everybody's equal. And no, we're not. Okay? In a sense, we all are because we're human. So we are all equal as human beings. But we are not all the same. Let me rephrase that. We are all equal, but we are not all the same physically. Okay? Women are built differently. They're built actually to withstand more pain than men, even though women usually are looked at to be the frailer of the two sexes, right? Because usually women are a little bit less physical in stature or size, right? Demure, I guess you could say. They can handle, from somebody that used to work in a tattoo shop, I can tell you women can handle way more pain than dudes. But that's because they're supposed to, because they give life. Okay, like he said, women complain, we're given all the work, because that's the propaganda they're fed. You should celebrate that you're given that much responsibility. You should be honored. Only you can create life. We can't. I mean, we're kind of needed for the seed, but that's it. Technically, a guy could do his business in a cup and you could get in vitro fertilization. Seriously. You women are amazing creatures. Don't buy into this. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna be fed the propaganda of sexism. Ladies, don't buy it. It's going to be used to try to divide us. And just keep dividing us further and keep us divided. And get another one of these crony scumbags in power. Don't fall for it, ladies. Okay, we should celebrate the differences between men and women. Again, you guys are amazing creatures. You can give life and create life inside of you. We can't. We participate in it a little bit, but you guys really do most of the heavy lifting. Let's all be honest here. Let's celebrate that. That's the way things used to be. I'm not saying we have to go, you're saying we're going to go live in the woods again? No. It's another straw man argument, but we could learn a lot. We could learn a lot. We could learn a lot, ladies and gentlemen. We really could. Anyway, got a few seconds left here, a few minutes. I want to play this clip. I played it the other day. I want to play it again. This is Dr. Bruce Lipton on living in love versus living in fear for your own health. And again, this goes to loving one another and trusting each other and getting each other back together again. That's what my goal is to get people just talking again and getting people to love one another again and changing the way we do things. Because, ladies and gentlemen, that's how we're going to stop this, is we have to fight it with the opposite of what they put out. They put out fear. We have to put out love. So here we go. Dr. Bruce Lipton, living in fear versus living in love.
It's really interesting to understand the difference in the dichotomy between living in love and living in fear. And it's best illustrated if I put cells in a petri dish and I put nutrients in front of the cells will move to the nutrients. But if I put toxins in front of the cells move away from the toxins. The significance is when you're in a growth situation, which is really what love represents, you're open because growth is open to the world and you assimilate things, and that's where growth comes from. Protection is just the complete opposite. Protection means you're threatened, your life is threatened, and you wall yourself off in protection. So growth is open and protection is closed. Well, the relevance is then you can't be in growth and in protection at the same time. So in our normal history of biology, protection is a necessary part of our survival. You being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, you seriously have to do something about this. So what nature has done is created a protection mechanism. In scientific terms, it's referred to as the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, very complicated, abbreviated as HPA. And what this really represents is the hypothalamus, the part of the brain that does an interpretation. It looks at the world and says, am I in a safe place or am I in a scary place? If the hypothalamus sees that we're in threat of any kind, it sends a signal to the pituitary gland, the master gland, whose signals coordinate the activity of 50 trillion cells. Well, in the case of a threat, the pituitary gland releases hormones that activate the adrenal glands. The adrenal system is referred to as fight or flight. So it's basically a protection mechanism. So I say, okay, great. The HPA axis, hypothalamus sees the threat, pituitary coordinates 50 trillion cells, and the adrenal gland prepares for a protection response. Well, if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, you're going to have to use your arms and legs to run away or fight what you need to do. So the system, when under threat, releases stress hormones from the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland allocates all the energy of the system to run away from the saber-toothed tiger. Well, that means the first thing the adrenal gland activity does is cause the blood vessels in the gut to constrict. This forces the blood, which has the energy, to the arms and legs. But then you have to realize this. The moment you shut down the blood vessels of the gut, this is where growth and maintenance and the necessary control and stability of the body is coming from, the organs of the viscera. So when you're in a moment of threat, you shut down the energy going to this gut because you're allocating the energy to run away. That's one of the first things that happens is we shut down growth and maintenance of the body. And people say, well, growth, I'm an adult, I don't need to grow. And I go, we're made out of 50 trillion cells, but every day we lose billions, hundreds of billions of cells, numbers that are just too big to conceive of, actually. Normal attrition, aging, damage. And so basically it says every day you're losing hundreds of billions of cells. That means by definition, every day you have to replace hundreds of billions of cells. So while you don't see yourself growing, every day you are growing to match what you're losing. So if you shut down the growth of the system, it won't take very long for the system to become in a state of disrepair. Because if you're not maintaining the replacement of those cells, this will lead to sickness and disease. And number two, remember, when the threat is present, the adrenal hormones are released in stress. They shut down the immune system. And this is an effort to conserve energy to run away from the tiger. What's the result of being in a state of protection? The answer is you shut down the growth and maintenance of the body, and you shut down the immune system. Both of these, if sustained for a period of time, will inevitably lead to disease and death. And just to refer back again to the nature of why evolution gave us this protection response, to run away from a saber-toothed tiger. But once you run away from it, once you've made it away from that tiger, then the system goes back into growth again. So by nature's understanding, you're only supposed to use the stress system for very short intervals of time because it interferes with the normal functions. And then you look at today's world and we realize 24/7, 365 stress hormones are being released into the system. We read the newspapers, we watch the news, we're concerned about the world and its unfolding. So what was supposed to be only used for a very short time has now become chronic. And the chronic release of stress hormones has resulted in an elevation of the amount of disease and sickness that our planet is experiencing right now. So the significance is we must recover. And then to recover, it says, we must get out of the fear that we live in because fear kills. It's interesting in regard to the level of health when we're in a state of growth or a state of protection. The level of health is totally a reflection of your vitality. And what we find is just very obvious when people are in love and they express tremendous vitality. But when people are in fear or in protection, the life force seems to be drained out of them. So basically, nature is really trying to tell us to move toward this higher vibration of love, because this is nature's indication that you are sustaining your life.
You understand, ladies and gentlemen? Are you getting it? I know it sounds cheesy and corny, but it's important. It's important you understand this stuff because, again, with that fear vibe going on, that ever-constant drip of fear, not only do you have that, but then they do, literal ceremonies in front of you invoking Lord knows what energy. Whether you believe in it or not, they do. This stuff's real, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's scary. That's why the last half hour I focused on positivity. Trying to bridge that gap, the rift that they're trying to create. Ladies, again, don't buy into the propaganda that you're already starting to see. And pay attention, you'll see it. Now that I mentioned it, you're going to start to see it. You'll start to notice it more. Don't buy into it, ladies. Alright, we're out of time. I'll see you all again live tomorrow night. Until then, I love every single one of you. And again, you are all full of infinite possibility. The solutions to our problems are an inside job. And you are the heroes that are going to carry out said solutions. I love you all. I'll see you all again tomorrow night.